The news, we continue to follow the trend of communities in the bi-state pursuing data centers and the heated comments public sessions are drawing across the region.
I'm Debbie Monterrey.
Wells Fargo makes a big investment division move to Florida. What is the St. Louis impact? I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
I'm Sean Malone. A man has been arrested after a fire broke out at a homeless encampment. I've got that story coming up.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Breezy today as clouds give way to sunshine, the high 47.
And the Blues lost last night to Winnipeg. The Billikens got themselves another win, but it wasn't easy. And two new baseball Hall of Famers. It's a 6:15.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. President Trump has just arrived in Zurich ahead of his address to the Global Economic Summit in Davos. He was delayed by a couple of hours by a transportation hiccup. Correspondent Jared Hill.
A bumpy start to President Trump's high-stakes trip to Switzerland. A minor electrical issue forced Air Force One to return shortly after takeoff. The journey resumed after the president switched planes.
This will be an interesting trip. I have no idea what's going to happen.
At the World Economic Forum in Davos, President Trump is set to make his case in person for why the U.S. should have Greenland.
We need it for security purposes.
A huge part of this country is bracing for more heavy snow, whiteout conditions, and bitter temperatures. CBS meteorologist Tony Sadiku.
This battleground of cold and warm air to the south, that'll be the catalyst for a new winter storm. Winter storm alerts already posted for much of the southern plains. This will be significant snow and ice, and some of that snow could make it into the northeast by Sunday.
The Great Lakes region still getting slammed. More than 2 feet of snow have fallen in western New York. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is expected to be at the Supreme Court to hear arguments in a case involving President Trump's bid to fire board governor Lisa Cook. Legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum.
Two questions that will surely be on the justices' minds this morning is the meaning of being fired for cause. Does it only apply to negligence on the job, or can an alleged mortgage fraud application constitute cause for dismissal?
Prince Harry's just begun testifying at court in London in his phone hacking lawsuit against the Daily Mail. Want to prolong the number of years you spend here on Earth? Pick your workouts carefully.
The study in the journal BMJ Medicine looked at many types of exercise. They found people at the lowest risk of premature death did the widest range of activities. Taking each exercise individually, walking had the lowest risk of early death. Racket sports like tennis and squash were next, followed by rowing, lifting weights, and running. Swimming and cycling only had a slight impact on living longer.
CBS's Michael Wallace. The Hall calls for a couple of center fielders. Carlos Beltran and Andrew Jones have been elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. 9-time All-Star Beltran reaches Cooperstown in his 4th appearance on the ballot.
My life really has changed. Just being able to be named a Hall of Fame and what this really means to me, to Puerto Rico, to our family.
Baseball writers appeared to make him wait over his role in the Houston Astros cheating scandal. Took 10-time Gold Glover Andrew Jones 9 ballot tries to make the Cooperstown cut. Gold breaks a new record, and Dow futures are down 37. This is CBS News.
I'm Andrew Garrett. Follow and listen to The Takeout on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast.
At 6:03, cloudy, 33 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Tom Ackerman.
And I'm Debbie Monterrey. KMOX continues following the trend of bi-state communities seeking to land data center developments. In Franklin County, they're freezing all data center development for 6 months.
Planning and zoning commissioners voted unanimously last night to table a proposal near Shaw Nature Reserve after residents accused the developers of secrecy. Local historian Kyle Mathis told the board he was barred from routinely photographing a pioneer cemetery located inside the construction zone.
My request was met with an immediate no. There was no further consideration. In all my time doing this, I've never had a single person tell me no. This rejection only further raises my concern for the future of this cemetery. To me, it seems like part of this property is being hidden, but I want to remind you that these are real people.
Faced with the crowd spilling into the hallway and unresolved questions about water usage, Vice Chair Debbie Willett argued the county needs to take a breath.
It blows my mind.
My thoughts were another month, I don't think is going to be enough. There are a lot of considerations and a lot of things that have been brought up. I don't know about them, and I do think we need more time.
The other commissioners agreed, voting to pause both the new regulations and the specific data center application until at least mid-2026. Their meeting started at 7 p.m. but didn't end until close to midnight.
At the same time, Warrenton aldermen last night approved the new Crusoe Energy Data Center north of I-70. But fearful the facility would become an eyesore, they're forcing the developer to hide its equipment. Mayor Eric Schluter demanded the massive backup generators be moved from the perimeter to inside the campus.
I'll entertain a motion to move the generators from the outside of both buildings to the inside of those buildings.
The rest of the board backed that move. The new courtyard layout shields the machinery from public view and could block more noise.
The Madison County Board could vote tonight on a resolution proclaiming Friday, January 30th, a day of unity in honor of Renee Nicole Good, the woman shot dead by an ICE officer in Minneapolis. The resolution asks that people across Madison County observe a moment of silence at 10 that morning, then take part in an act of service in their community. The board meeting starts at 5 tonight at the County Administration Building in Edwardsville.
Wells Fargo is planting a new flag in South Florida, but executives say St. Louis remains central to their strategy. Here's KMOX's Michael Calhoun.
It's a tale of two headquarters. Wells Fargo is moving its wealth management leadership to West Palm Beach to chase the billionaires boom in Florida. That unit serves ultra-wealthy families and generates about $16 billion in revenue per year. But the brokerage side of the house, known as Wells Fargo Advisors, is staying put in St. Louis. The division serves millions of regular retail investors, and it'll keep its top brass and thousands of support staff in downtown West, maintaining the St. Louis metro area status as a key financial center.
KMOX continues to follow developments of St. Charles Mayor Dan Borgmeyer's proposal to revamp his local communications department.
Main Street business owners and even residents are concerned changing the status quo will bring job losses. Mayor Borgmeyer says communications is combined with events and promotions.
So I really have not suggested any changes to anything other than the establishment of these three departments, which takes council action. Council will have to say, yes, we will accept these three departments.
Borgmeyer tells KMOX in the process he has found efficiencies, savings, and things that should be changed.
So until the council steps forward and does what they need to do, I mean, they may say, well, we just like it the way it is. I don't get a vote.
Maria Kina, KMOX News.
From the business desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com, a final celebration Sunday for Hacienda Mexican Restaurant in Rock Hill, which is closing after 50 years. The celebration will include live music and half-price menu items. Hacienda chips and salsa will still be available at local grocery stores. The catering and food truck business will still operate for at least a few more weeks.
The property on Manchester is for sale, and owner Alexandra Rodriguez tells the Business Journal there's been strong interest in it, and they are evaluating their options. That is a big piece of property.
That is a big piece of property. Yeah. A nice property.
Yep. Traffic and weather next, 6:08.
Extreme cold weather coming in through St. Louis this mid-January probably. If you're having issues with your furnace, give me a call. If you were told you need a new furnace, without a question, give me a call. You'll be happy you did. We're all the same when it comes to like buying a furnace and air conditioner, just like with pretty much anything else. If you're like me, I want a furnace that heats, and in the heat of summer, I want an air conditioner that works. Pretty much simple. So is a more high-efficient air conditioner or more high-efficient furnace give me more heat, more cooling? No, it doesn't at all. It gives you the exact same. So with that being said, you need to call me. Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Again, 314-293-2600, or you do the online thing, and it's Bart Inman, Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
6:10 and time to check in with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the highways are doing pretty well, Debbie. We still have just the briefest of delays. It keeps getting better. I don't really see any flashing lights any longer. Eastbound 70 was just a little busy, sort of off the pace at Wright City. So we had a jam, then a slowdown, and really now it's pretty well dissipated. I do see a little bit of a slowdown now, eastbound 64 right near Lake St. Louis Boulevard, so just building a little volume there. And we had a slowdown a few minutes ago. I don't see it now. Eastbound 70 east to Salisbury, so there was an incident in the area there. They cleared. The only incident we're actively working. In fact, they did have another call out for EMS just about 3 or 4 minutes ago. That crash on eastbound 30 at Dolores. They still have a lane blocked, and it's still the shortest of jams. Not very much in the way of a backup, but there is a backup. The emergency crews remained on the scene. I believe it was the left lane that was blocked at that location. Otherwise, in the rest of the work zones and just in general, not a lot of volume on the highways, not enough to slow you down anywhere else so far. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Breezy today as clouds give way to sunshine, the high 47. Breezy and turning colder tonight. It'll be clear this evening, then some cloud later on, though 21. Sunshine filtered through high clouds tomorrow, the high temperature 39. Friday will be breezy and bitterly cold with clouds and limited sun, the high 12, but AccuWeather real field temperatures below zero. Look for some snow this weekend. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 33 in Florissant, 33 in St. Peter's, cloudy, 33 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It is 6:11. A jury has been seated, and the federal trial of former St. Louis Alderman Brandon Bosley is expected to begin today. Bosley has pleaded not guilty to charges of wire fraud and making false statements to FBI agents. The case dates back to 2021 and allegations made against Bosley resulting from an inflated car damage insurance claim.
A man has been arrested after attempting to burn down a homeless encampment.
According to St. Louis City Police, the fire department was initially called to a fire at the homeless encampment on North 10th and Cass Avenue. Police say crews eventually requested their presence when an unhoused individual was throwing a liquid from a gas can all over the place. Police spokesman Mitch McCoy
is being charged related to the threats that he made about burning this lot down and some of the tents in that area.
The encampment is where a makeshift warming shelter was stood up last week, drawing concerns from city officials about how safe it is in the event of a fire. The blaze was located along the fence line of the encampment and had nothing to do with the shelter. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
St. Louis County investigators are publishing video evidence from the confrontation last November inside a Walgreens. That confrontation ended in the death of 23-year-old Jacob Mercer of Maryland Heights. The newly released briefing includes intense body camera audio of the moment an officer returned fire.
By the pharmacy, very back. We got shots fired by a suspect.
Lieutenant Colonel Jerry Lohr breaks down the forensic evidence.
In total, 3 shots were fired by Mr. Mercer and 2 shots were fired by law enforcement. Detectives recovered a .380 caliber Sig Sauer pistol attributed to Mr. Mercer. Shell casings recovered at the scene were forensically matched to his weapon.
Police say they also recovered a suicide note at Mercer's residence.
A 40-year-old woman's death has been ruled a homicide. St. Louis police report the woman was found Monday around noon in the 3800 block of Cook Avenue. An autopsy revealed she had been shot. The victim's name has not been released.
An academic who's worked with St. Louis University's Earthquake Center tells KMOX News he thinks the 3.8 magnitude quake that originated from central Illinois Tuesday morning was likely a one-off. Dr. Robert Herman says it was minor on the scale and didn't cause any damage. His takeaway?
We might say that this was a good training exercise in that there was a very quick response, a very quick assessment of what this thing could have done.
Herman says it also serves as a reminder to all of us that earthquakes can occur anytime, and we should have a plan at home for what to do if a major one occurs.
It's 6:14. You're listening to Total Information AM. Let's get to before basketball, the Blues. They lost 3-1 at Winnipeg last night. Just another disappointing loss for the Blues, now back-to-back for them after winning back-to-back. Coach Jim Montgomery visiting with the media after the game.
Was there something Winnipeg did that maybe impeded your team's pushback?
It's a good question. I think we had opportunities. We continue to get the good opportunities we had. I think maybe we're off target a little too much with our opportunities. Comrie made some big saves.
Even with a loss tonight, what did you think of the team's response after that in the game?
Yeah, I liked our competitive spirit tonight. Was good. I thought for all 60 minutes, that we worked together. They got two really nice power play goals. We only got one. That was the difference in the game. I thought 5-on-5, we had a lot of really good looks. And again, goal scoring has been an issue, but we're going to keep going to their hard areas and staying in the hard areas.
The Blues, with that loss, are now tied with Winnipeg at the bottom of the Central Division, each team with 46 points. SLU, they are at the top of the Atlantic 10 Conference after their win last night over Duquesne. Final score was 81-77, but it was far from easy. The Billikens had to hope that a three didn't go down late in the game in the final minute. It rimmed out. Billikens got the rebound. Trey Green knocked down a free throw, and they sealed it. Final score 81-77 to go to 18-1 overall and 6-0 in the Atlantic 10 Conference. When you look at the A10, it can't be a guarantee that you're going to get more than your automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. So it's a battle right now at the top. George Mason and SLU tied at 6-0, and Dayton is 5-0, fighting for that number one seed in the Atlantic 10 tournament. The Billikens are ranked 24th in the country. 25th ranked Miami of Ohio is now 20-0 after the Red Hawks won at Kent State by a final of 107-102 in overtime. Other games yesterday, Georgia beat Missouri at Mizzou Arena 74-72. SEMO topped Tennessee Martin 66-50. On the schedule today, number 11 Illinois hosts Maryland. That's a 6:00 tip in the Missouri Valley Conference. Southern Illinois at Valpo at 7. Northern Iowa at Illinois State at 8. I'll be at Indiana State at Bradley tonight at 6:00. Carlos Beltran, you heard him in CBS News. He is now a Baseball Hall of Famer. He'll be inducted this July 24th through to the 27th is the Hall of Fame weekend in Cooperstown. He goes in with Andrew Jones. They're actually one day apart. They were both born in 1977, and Andrew Jones, the outstanding outfielder for the Braves for many years, along with Beltran, who was on his fourth year on the ballot, topped the list of 27 candidates, 84.2% of the electorate. Jones made the grade in his ninth year on the ballot with 78.4%. So they'll be honored along with Jeff Kent, who was elected by the Contemporary Baseball Era Committee last month in Orlando, and Joe Buck, who is going to be honored as the Ford C. Frick Award winner for that weekend. KMOX will be following that. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals and the Billikens, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
New tax resolution firms are popping up every day with high-paid celebrity endorsers, advertising ridiculous claims in their TV ads. That's why they have the tiny, unreadable disclaimers at the bottom of the screen. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. Our ads never have those ridiculous, fast-talking, tiny disclaimers at the end because, simply put, there are no guarantees when it comes to the IRS and wiping out tax bills. And we don't make promises we can't keep. Of course, there are ways the Lance Drury Law Firm can help resolve your tax debt, but no company can guarantee it will eliminate it. This is why their clients call the Lance Drury Law Firm when those promises don't pan out. If you have tax problems, you have legal problems, call me, Lance Drury in St. Louis at 314-260-6120 or visit Lance, DRURY law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Barnes Jewish Hospital and WashU Medicine physicians have long been leaders in heart and vascular care. Now, we're taking the patient experience to another level by opening our new state-of-the-art patient tower, designed specifically with heart patients in mind. By combining the latest technology with thoughtful design and private rooms, heart patients can experience faster healing, reduced stress, and improved outcomes. Learn more at barnesjewish.org/heart.
St. Louis has a voice.
This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
That voice has shared our stories from headline to history.
The St. Louis Blues are the Stanley Cup champions.
From moment to memory.
Now there is only one Berlin.
Among those voices, Wendy Weiss.
We'll have more on a troop deployment to Bosnia.
Working at KMOX is an honor and a responsibility to represent this community. It's one we take seriously. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. Now, the news. At 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
6:20 and time for us to get you updated on your ride in and the weather. It's going to just be getting colder as we head towards the weekend. Details on the way. Let's see what's happening on the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's getting a little busier out there, Debbie, but it's still not terrible. This traffic reports a service of Financial and Tax Strategies. If you're on eastbound Highway 70 at Wright City, things have thinned out. I do see a little bit of a backup coming through Wentzville Parkway in that construction area now, so just be advised of that. Northbound 55 looks good down south. The right lane's a little busy at Mattis, so you do have a little bit of a slowdown. Bayless up to River to Pear after that. Downtown, we look okay. We still have this crash on eastbound 30 at Dolores. They have a lane block there. Traffic's slow approaching New Sugar Creek, and it jams about midway in from New Sugar Creek to Dolores, so the backup's getting a little more extensive there. Again, they have yet to wrap up that crash. Otherwise, the rest of the interstate, so we're looking great. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Retirement shouldn't feel like balancing your checkbook while blindfolded. I'm Gary Goldberg, and my team helps you see the big picture so you can retire younger, richer, and with less anxiety. Because guessing is not a strategy. Tune in to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
All right, here's that forecast from AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg. It's going to be sunny today, but a high of 47. Not too bad. Tonight, a little colder. Partly cloudy late, low 21. Tomorrow, sunshine through some high clouds, a high of 39. Then the plunge. Friday, breezy, much colder. Clouds, limited sun, a high of only 12 with real field temperatures below zero. And on Saturday, it'll be frigid. We may get some snow to the tune of 1 to 3 inches. We'll continue to track that storm to know where those higher snow amounts will be. A high Saturday of just 12, and the snow ends early Sunday. Sunday will be just 22 for the high. 33 right now.
The news continues at 6:22. Patients at SSM Health can breathe a sigh of relief. The hospital system says it's finalized a new multi-year contract with United Healthcare, protecting in-network access for thousands of families across the region.
The dispute had threatened to force patients to find new providers or face higher costs starting this year. In a statement, SSM Health says the agreement guarantees uninterrupted care for employer-sponsored and Medicaid patients at all of its hospitals and clinics.
Lots of talk among nutrition experts over the recently released new food pyramid.
Michelle Wilson with Brands Nutrition tells KMOX's Megan Lynch the way the food pyramid is graphically displayed is really confusing.
The saturated fat recommendations hasn't actually shifted from the previous one to the current one, which there's no problem with that. If the general recommendation is less than 10% of your calories coming from saturated fat. But visual representation wise, it looks like, oh, well, we're supposed to be getting all of these proteins from our meats and our full fat dairy products. Portion-wise, that seems like it would put us above that less than 10% recommendation for saturated fats.
The new dietary guidelines emphasize eating lots of protein and healthy fats and not highly processed foods and refined carbs. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
The short-lived Homer G. Phillips Memorial Hospital, part of Paul McKee's Northside Regeneration, has reopened with a new operator. It's now called Archview ER and Hospital. It's being run by a Houston-based company.
According to the Business Journal, Nutex operates 27 emergency care and hospital facilities in 12 states and plans to open an additional 15 locations across the country. Archview opened last month without much fanfare and has been seeing about 10 patients a day.
A new American Heart Association report shows heart disease remains the leading cause of death in the U.S., with stroke now ranking 4th ahead of COVID. But after years of increases, deaths from both are starting to decline. Northwestern University researcher Dr. Sadia Khan explains what's driving the shift.
The recent estimates for obesity, which are at about 40% for adults and about 20% for kids, really highlight a key opportunity where we can do more, particularly related to dietary changes, physical activity, as well as medication if needed.
A new study pours cold water on suspected impacts of having fluoride in drinking water. Here's CBS's Michael George.
Fluoride in drinking water does not negatively impact the birth weight of infants. That's according to a study looking at more than 11 million Americans. Fluoride is added to water to improve dental health and has been called one of the top public health achievements of the 20th century. But some critics argue it should not be added to water, with some states banning fluoride in drinking water in recent years.
It's been 1 year now since a measles outbreak in West Texas killed 2 children and made hundreds of other people sick. And while that outbreak is over, another in South Carolina is getting worse. And for the first time in a quarter century, America is in danger of losing its measles-free status. CBS News correspondent Skylar Henry.
When Alex Redding moved with her family from Texas to South Carolina last year, she thought she was leaving her concerns about measles behind.
We didn't really realize that this was a hot zone until we came. It literally was like it was following us.
Her twins at 9 months old were too young for the vaccine, but a worsening outbreak in the state had her pediatrician concerned.
A dangerous winter storm is still slamming the Great Lakes region with heavy snow, creating whiteout conditions, and there's more to come. Here's CBS News meteorologist Tony Sadiku on what's next.
Another Arctic blast headed our way for the Midwest to end the week. Numbers could be 20 to 30 below normal. That means some of you could wake up to wind chills as low as 45 below zero. Highs on Friday, 8 below Minneapolis, 14 in Kansas City.
Someone's finally come up with an app that tells moviegoers when it's a good time to go to the bathroom without missing anything important. Wow.
Now that is an app I could use.
My goodness. Let's get more information from CBS's Chris Mavridis.
The app is called Run P. All you got to do is sync up the timer to the start of a particular movie in its database, and it'll flash to tell you when there'll be a break in the action or just a dull point. Like at the 23-minute mark of No Time to Die. It shows you how long you have to water the plants before you miss something good, and even gives you a brief synopsis of what happened while you were out paying the water bill. Chris Mavridis, CBS News.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I get that.
I went to see one battle after another, and I didn't realize how long it was. And it was really good. It wasn't like, it was dragging, and I thought, is this almost over? But I thought, is this a long movie? Because I really need to visit the restroom. But then you don't want to get up and just leave and miss everything.
You could use that app.
That's
Somebody
actually
spent
very-
a lot of time going through that.
It's very clever.
Wow. 627, this time check, and here's your opportunity, is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
John Pertzborn here, and I've come to respect the good works of Hardy's Rise and Shine for Heat benefit, supporting heatupstlouis.org, where 100% of the proceeds help families and seniors with Missouri and Illinois utilities. It's Friday, February 13th, your lucky day. Volunteer now or pre-order sacks of sausage or egg biscuits only at heatupstlouis.org. Put the biscuits down, gentry.
I'm Kiara Palazzolo,
VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
The St. Louis Symphony Orchestra brings the sweet nostalgia and soul-shattering passion of Tchaikovsky's Fourth Symphony to life this January. This energetic program also features performer Wu Wei playing a stunning concerto on the sheng, a mouth organ and one of the oldest known Chinese instruments. Don't miss this unique program. January 24th and 25th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
It is 6:30, and right now in downtown St. Louis, it is cloudy and 33 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brand is in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, hitting highways this morning is not a bad proposition unless you're on Highway 30. They're still working this crash eastbound 30 at Dolores. Traffic is a solid jam now back through New Sugar Creek. So bumper to bumper, just crawling through there on eastbound Highway 30. More volume on the other roads as well. Northbound 55, the right lanes are slow. Butler Hill up to the 270 ramp, and then it's backed up from the Union Road overpass up to Weber, slow from there up through Holly Hills, North 270 itself. A little busy, Doherty Ferry through Manchester and approaching the Clayton Road overpass, not terrible. Southbound 61, we have a backup south of Highway W down through Highway P. After that, just crossing over onto 64 through Prospect is a little heavy. If you're on eastbound 70, the delays we had around Wentzville Parkway, they've thinned out, and it looks good east of there. All the way across the Blanchette Bridge and downtown, the Poplar and Musewell Veterans Bridges are both still wide open for you coming in for Illinois drivers. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be 47 degrees today, so enjoy it because it just gets colder after this. Breezy today with clouds giving way to sunshine. Again, 47 degrees today, sun and some high clouds tomorrow, high 39, and then Friday, just 12 degrees, but it's going to feel like it's below zero much of the day. Right now, it's 33 degrees.
It's 6:32. Belleville police have released more information about Saturday's triple shooting that left one woman dead and two others wounded. They say the gunfire resulted from a man upset about a recent breakup with his girlfriend. Belleville detectives think 25-year-old Christopher Boyd of St. Louis was on his way to Alabama early Sunday when Perry County, Missouri Sheriff's deputies tried to make a traffic stop on I-55.
They say Perry shot himself dead instead of surrendering. We've learned the woman he allegedly killed in Belleville was 18-year-old Shenandoah Burton of O'Fallon, Illinois. Police have surveillance video of Perry shooting Burton and also firing shots at a car occupied by women from Swansea and Fairview Heights. One of those women was his ex-girlfriend.
Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe has proposed a $54.5 billion state budget for the upcoming fiscal year. Kehoe says it's time for Missouri's budget to return to pre-COVID levels.
Since fiscal year 22, over 3,400 new budget items have been added at the cost of nearly $13 billion in new general revenue spending. This does not include federal dollars. All of this demonstrates the historic imbalance we now must fix. Government has clearly grown too large.
Kehoe says he has signed Government Great, an executive order that brings Missouri business leaders and state staff together to recommend ways to streamline government, cut waste, and improve accountability.
Transportation note, Amtrak announcing overnight the cancellation of today's Lincoln Service Train 302. That's the St. Louis to Chicago route. Amtrak says they'll provide buses to get people to their destination. No specific reason was given for that cancellation.
If you're wondering why auto loan or mortgage rates are climbing now, even when the Fed isn't hiking rates, you aren't alone. Stifel's Eric Robert explains your wallet is currently at the mercy of the 10-year Treasury notes.
Now, when interest rates rise, and especially in this case, what we call intermediate term rates, like the 10-year Treasury note, that is the foundation for a lot of consumer interest rates, like mortgages, auto loans, and others.
Treasury yields jumped 6 basis points on Tuesday, pushing those consumer rates even higher.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We've got your Money Minute coming up next at 6:34.
January in St. Louis isn't for hot takes. It's for people who know the game. From Cardinals spring training and NFL playoffs to the transfer portal and the Blues playoff push, the Gas House Gang breaks it all down. Ackerman, Ranji, Miklas, and Claiborne have covered it all, and they break it down the right way.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Daily at noon on 104.1 FM KMOX, America's sports voice.
Hey, St. Louis City SC fans, mark your calendars now. The Boys in Red return to Energizer Park to kick off Season 4 Saturday, February 21st. And you could be there for the dawn of a new golden era of St. Louis soccer. Go to stlcitysc.com/tickets and reserve your seat now for the MLS home opener versus Charlotte FC. Limited quantities remain. See you soon, St. Louis.
Hey guys, it's Dave. You know that saying, new year, new you? Well, how about new year, new home upgrade? Right now, when you buy 4 windows from Universal Windows Direct, you get 4 free. That's one of the biggest offers they've ever done. And with 0% interest financing for 60 months, you can spread out your payments over 5 years, same as cash without a penny of interest. But there's more. You'll get $1,000 off your entire project, plus a little something to look forward to, a vacation voucher through Destination Motivation with every purchase. Call 314-334-2522 or visit universalwindowsdirect.com.
636, your money report sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. President Trump's push to take over Greenland, complete with threats of tariffs against European allies, sent stocks plunging yesterday, with the Dow falling 870 points. This morning, stocks are bouncing back with small gains after yesterday's sell-off. S&P futures are rising 13 points, Dow futures gaining 45. United Airlines is seeing a strong year ahead, driven by demand from high-spending flyers and international travelers. Like other carriers, United is investing heavily to cash in on passengers willing to pay more for a better flying experience. The airline is adding lie flat seats, Starlink internet service, and spending $150 million to improve in-flight catering. And thousands of students will get their college decisions faster this year because of artificial intelligence. Admissions departments across the country are turning to AI for help reading essays and reviewing transcripts as higher education faces funding pressures. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Tom Ackerman for McKelvey Homes. McKelvey Homes and the Reserve at Wildwood. More than just a place to live, it's thoughtfully planned with families and outdoor lovers in mind. The community features a private playground, picturesque rain gardens, miles of walking trails that wind through scenic green spaces, encouraging an active and connected lifestyle. McKelvey Homes always picks the best home sites, and the Reserve at Wildwood is situated in one of the most sought-after areas of West County, Wildwood, offering a charming suburban atmosphere with easy access to nature, recreation, and modern amenities. Go to McKelveyHomes.com to learn more about the Reserve at Wildwood and any of their home sites throughout the St. Louis area. And you can learn about their great history since 1898. Excellent craftsmanship and style and service. McKelvey Homes, the oldest home builder in Missouri and the best. Move up to McKelvey, McKelveyHomes.com.
The story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Are you 50 or older?
This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey, Cardinal Cowboy here. Who would have thought a car crash would have led to charities, TV shows, and cheering with the best fans in the world? I'm thankful for every day. And so are my friends at Renner Garage Door. They've been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. With help from trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, honest family-style service you can count on. So giddy up and get your free repair or replacement quote today. Giddy up!
R-E-N-N-E-R, R-E-N-N-E-R.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
I'm Dave Glover. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
It is 6:40 and time for traffic and weather here on Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey along with Tom Ackerman, and here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, good news for Highway 30 drivers, Debbie. This traffic reports service of Meadowview Memory Care. Eastbound Highway 30, they cleared that crash at Dolores. There's still a little busy traffic at New Sugar Creek, and it's backed up east of Dolores through Northwest Boulevard, Gravois Bluffs area. It's all unwinding, so it's getting better, but obviously busier than it normally would be through there. Northbound 55, that's a pretty solid backup from the Union Road overpass up to about Weber, slow north there to Holly Hills. Northbound 270, a little slowdown approaching Gravois. 44 up through Manchester is busy right now. Eastbound 70 drivers looking at some slow traffic from the Spencer Road overpass into Cave Springs. Southbound 61, we had an incident south of Highway P. It's bumper to bumper from W to just south of P. After that, you're good to go till you hit 64. 64 is just busy. Prospect in toward Lake St. Louis Boulevard. It opens up just before you get there. South 170, a little slow getting on to eastbound 64, past the U Club Tower in downtown. Westbound 64, west of 3rd Street to the Poplar is a little heavy as well. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Discover Meadowview Memory Care in Arnold, a small, secure community on a beautiful campus. Enjoy peace of mind with all our inclusive rates and comfortable private suites. Schedule your tour today at rspseniorliving.com.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. All right, I need your assistance, just if you wouldn't mind, for personal reasons. My daughter's driving back to college this weekend, so she's heading to Miami of Ohio. I know we need to track this storm to sort of figure out when this all starts, but how does Saturday look?
Saturday, I think, is going to be snowy. As she's driving eastward, she'll be trying to stay ahead of the snow
for her. So we're not sure. Sunday might be better.
Sunday, if she can delay getting out, but there may be snow-covered roads that she'll have to be chasing.
True.
Can she leave Friday?
Let's do
night?
Friday. Let's do Friday.
Yeah, let's do Friday. That's my recommendation. Yeah, the forecast is not good, Tom. We're going to start out with temperatures getting into the 40s today, with any clouds giving way to plenty of sunshine. That's the warmest that we're going to see for the foreseeable future. And tonight, the first of 2 cold fronts will come through the area. And by morning, we're down in the low 20s. Clear skies early, then some clouds late tonight. Tomorrow, sunshine dimmed by high clouds, but it's still relatively okay at 39. Second front comes through later in the day and at night, and the bottom drops out. Single digits for overnight lows by Friday morning. Our high only 12. Clouds move in, and then the snow breaks out by daybreak on Saturday. It looks like it snows off and on throughout the day Saturday and into Saturday night before escaping early Sunday. At least a few inches of snow out of this, and there could be more. Our high Saturday about 12 into the low 20s on Sunday. Right now, 35 at St. Peter's, 36 in Florissant, mostly cloudy, 36 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, thanks, Joe. It's 6:43, and Iran is threatening retaliation if the United States uses force there.
Iran's foreign minister has issued a direct threat against the US, warning of retaliation if attacked. This comes after Tehran's crackdown on protesters and as a U.S. aircraft carrier group moves toward the Middle East. Abbas Araghchi made the threat in an opinion article, blaming armed demonstrators for the violence. Videos from Iran show security forces targeting unarmed protesters. The death toll from the protests has reached at least 4,519, according to US-based activists. More than 26,300 people have been arrested, with fears of executions coming amid the ongoing tensions. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is urging European leaders to take a pause with their Greenland concerns. Speaking in Davos ahead of President Trump's arrival at the World Economic Forum, Bessent suggested EU nations hold their fire.
Do not have this reflexive anger that we've seen and this bitterness. Why don't they sit down, wait for President Trump to get here and listen to his argument? Because I think they're going to be persuaded.
Israel's prime minister says he has agreed to join Trump's Board of Peace that's set to oversee the disarming of Hamas and the reconstruction of Gaza. We get more from Linda Gradstein in Jerusalem.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu accepted the invitation despite the fact that Turkey, one of Israel's primary rivals, has also been invited. Israel says Turkey has supported Hamas and can have no role in the future of Gaza. The board's charter has not yet been made public, but the Associated Press said that a draft showed that much of the board's power will be concentrated in the hands of Trump himself.
Hey, listen, there are two things about this basketball game. SLU beating Duquesne 81-77 last night. Played great for most of it. I mean, they led by 14 with less than 7 minutes to go after a back-and-forth first half. They took a 2-point lead into the break, and then they started to roll in the second half, but they let Duquesne back in. The Dukes actually trimmed the deficit to 1 with just under a minute to go, and SLU had to brace themselves for a 3 that could have tied the game with under a minute to go, but Deion Brown collected the rebound, got fouled, hit a free throw on the other end, and sealed a 4-point SLU victory, 81-77. Josh Schertz, as you can imagine, was concerned about letting that one almost get away.
You know, it's a dead ball situation, and you know what's coming. And I mean, we've talked about it, we've worked on it, we drill it, and yet, you know, we're unable to come up with the ball. I mean, there was one possession, you know, there was a one-on-one, they missed it, they got the rebound, they made the first, missed the second, got the rebound, made a 3. I mean, you know, like we just couldn't get out of our own way. From the press break, Deion's taking it out where Brady should be taking it out. Then Brady just shoves the guy to the ground to give him a foul. You know, I mean, just like it was. I mean, grade school teams would be embarrassed to do some of the things that we did in the last 5 minutes of that game. And so, I'm embarrassed as the coach because I'm the one obviously who's overseeing it. So that's on me to fix it. And I told them they'll be. We'll go back to work tomorrow. We'll be on the court Thursday. But we've got to have a whole different level of mentality and focus on Friday at St. Bonaventure. This was disappointing would be too kind a word. But, like I said, I don't want to take away, like, we came on the road and won a game.
They did, 81-77, and they're now 18-1 on the season, 6-0 in the Atlantic 10. In a game decided in the final seconds, Mizzou dropped a close contest against number 21 Georgia last night at Mizzou Arena. Tigers fell to 13-6 overall, 3-3 in the SEC, while the nationally ranked Bulldogs improved to 16-3 and 4-2 in the SEC. The final score last night was 74-72 Georgia over Missouri. SEMO beat Tennessee Martin 66-50. And in other local action today, it'll be number 11 Illinois at home against Maryland at 6 o'clock. Southern Illinois goes to Valparaiso at 7. Illinois State hosts Northern Iowa at 8 o'clock. The Blues lost to Winnipeg. Final score was 3-1 on the road. The Blues lose back-to-back games on the road, and they've now lost 5 straight on the road. As a matter of fact, they're tied for last place with Winnipeg in the Central Division. Carlos Beltran, the former Cardinal, he was with the club from 2012 to 13, helped the team reach the World Series in 2013. He is a Hall of Famer, spending the bulk of his career with the Royals and the Mets, among other teams. He was a New York Yankee for a time, Houston Astro, and had a tremendous career. Beltran goes into the Hall with 84% of the vote. Andrew Jones also gets into the Hall of Fame. They will be joined by Jeff Kent and our very own Joe Buck. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan, along with Dr. Colleen Bosler and Dr. Adam Voss at the Audiology Center. When was the last time you really enjoyed a conversation without straining to hear?
Charlie, so many people think hearing aids just make things louder.
But that's old technology. Today's hearing aids do so much more.
Exactly. With the dual chip technology, our hearing aids actually separate the speech from the background noise.
Which means at a noisy restaurant, you'll hear your friends and family, not the clinking dishes.
And the best part, your brain doesn't have to work overtime trying to fill in the blanks.
So that keeps your mind sharp, your conversations easy, and your relationships stronger.
Because hearing well isn't just about sound, it's about staying connected.
Thanks, Doctor. Call the Audiology Center today to schedule your annual hearing evaluation. Don't miss another moment. Call 636-441-7470 or visit the AudiologyCenterSTL.com.
Unlock a brighter outdoor space in 2026 with Chesterfield Valley Nursery. Let us be your trusted partner for all your landscaping, lawn, and gardening needs, empowering you to create a haven that brings joy and serenity to your life. From landscape design to property maintenance to our garden center, we're here for you. Houseplants, tree shrubs, organic soil mixes, gardening and plant classes, and more. Chesterfield Valley Nursery's Garden Center has what you need no matter what the season. Visit us weekdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Saturday hours start in March. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram for all class and sale updates.
Fairwinds River's Edge is more than a place to live. It's a place to belong. Come see why we have been voted Best Independent Senior Living Community for 4 years in a row by U.S. News and World Report. We think you'll like it here, and the experts agree. Come see us for yourself. Call to schedule a tour and complimentary lunch, or to learn more about our upcoming app university that can help enhance your everyday life. Find us online at fairwindsriversedge.com.
Now the news at 1 the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:50. This is Total Information AM. Let's get you updated on traffic and weather with Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
No, Debbie, we got trouble in southbound 170 now. This traffic reports service of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. It looks to me like it's a stall in the left lane right at the U Club Tower. South 170 backs up near Ladue because of it. Still have an extensive backup on southbound 61 from just south of W past Highway P. We had an incident just south of P. Once you get past that point, 64 is just slow from 70 to about Lake St. Louis Boulevard. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, there's some busy traffic approaching Mid-Rivers up to about the Spencer Road overpass before 370. North 270, slow north of Gravois. Stop and go pockets as you approach 44 up toward Manchester. Eastbound 30 coming through Dolores. Everything looks great there. Now northbound 55 backed up from Bayless up to about Holly Hills, and westbound 64 downtown. 3rd Street to the Poplars heavy. Need a new garage door? Entries are open now for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. Deadline to enter is the end of the month. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg says we're going to have some sunshine today with a high of 47 degrees. We'll take that in because it is going to drop severely here at the late end, at the end of this week on Friday. For tonight, a low of 21. Tomorrow, sunny, high 39. Then for Friday, a high of only 12, says Joe, with real field temperatures below zero. Saturday, snow 1 to 3 inches will taper off by early Sunday. Currently, it's 33 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 6:52. The St. Louis Circuit Attorney's Office says the man who struck and permanently disabled a police officer on I-70 will spend a year and a day in prison. A judge sentenced Frank Carr to 366 days behind bars, followed by 5 years of probation. The judge also ordered Carr to perform 100 hours of community service with an organization that works with amputees.
Actor-director Timothy Busfield is ordered released from a jail in Albuquerque until his trial.
Accused of having sexual contact with 2 child actors on the set of the TV show The Cleaning Lady, prosecutor Savannah Brandenburg-Koch says many of the letters of support for Busfield say that it couldn't have happened because there were so many people around.
The kids didn't say it happened when they were alone.
Busfield's attorney stresses his client is presumed innocent.
And I have significant concerns about the prosecution talking as if he has already been convicted.
The judge has ruled the defendant be released on his own recognizance. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
You weren't the only one having trouble hearing the singers on the premiere of Star Search last night.
Social media was filled with complaints about the show's sound, and while Netflix already has a reputation for terrible audio, they do have a fix. They suggest switching from 5.1 surround sound to stereo 2.0. They say that should keep the music from overpowering everything else. Chris Mavrides, CBS News.
Well, we're starting to have some teasers for Super Bowl ads. How about this? Anheuser-Busch gave us a preview for Mick Ultra starring former Blue TJ Oshie.
Do it for the Ultras, Craig!
Holy. There's only one man who could have taught him that.
That is U.S. Olympic gold medalist Chloe Kim with Oshie watching a novice skier named Greg attempt a ski jump. It was directed by Top Gun Maverick filmmaker Joseph Kosinski.
All right. That's the thing with these Super Bowl ads now. It's not just a one-off.
Oh, no.
No, they're going to string it out now.
Yeah, that's right. They give you,
time.
they're telling us on January 21st what's coming, and they all have a cinematic element to them. It's really something. It's 6:55.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement.
It's your birthday.
The birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned, top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Again, to send in a birthday or anniversary request to be announced, it's totalam@KMOX.com, totalam@KMOX.com. Happy birthday wishes going out to Rita Kramkowski in Swansea. Happy anniversary to Jackie and Tony Knittig. Happy birthday wishes to Karen Glines, Jessica Phillips, Jim Cramper, and KMOX News Director Beth Coughlin.
Happy birthday to one of our favorites, former Cardinals pitcher Alan Bennis. He is one of the good guys. 96, helped the team as a young pitcher get to the playoffs for the first time since 1987, and he was tremendous for Tony La Russa's rotation in 1997. Happy birthday, Alan. He is 54 today. It is 6:56.
This is the best birthday ever.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
Looking for your dream home in Wentzville? Welcome to Sutton Farms by Lombardo Homes, where community and comfort come together. Enjoy resort-style living with a private clubhouse, indoor courts, a splash pad, sand volleyball, walking trails, and even a dog park. Design your own custom home in our Parkside, Nature, or Tradition series, all within the top-rated Wentzville School District. Discover the perfect blend of small-town charm and modern convenience at Sutton Farms, located off Piney Road in Wentzville. Visit LombardoHomes.com to learn more.
Working full-time but still falling behind? Learn how real estate education can help you build income and get ahead on your terms. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard. No blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
This year, I'm giving my hair salon a total makeover.
Total makeover sounds totally expensive.
We updated our logo and colors, so I needed to print new signage, brochures, business cards, everything.
Everything will not be cheap.
Staples did it all, and I saved $100 on my order.
$100? Trim my whiskers, that's a good deal. For everything your business needs to print, let's go Staples.
That was easy.
Offer valid in-store and online. Ends 131. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
.64 from 70 to Lake St. Louis Boulevard's busy. North 270 north of Tesson Ferry up to Doherty Ferry slow. 55 Bayless up through Holly Hills is heavy. And downtown westbound 64 west of 3rd Street to the Poplar is pretty slow right now as well. Next update is 710 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We have clouds, 33 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Tom Ackerman, and these are the stories making news. Proposed data centers in Franklin County and Warrenton stir up dissent among the public, and we'll share some of it after CBS News.
I'm Debbie Monterrey.
You might have heard that Wells Fargo is moving out of town. Well, we're getting you the real story. I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. It'll be breezy today with a good deal of sunshine, high 47.
College basketball, it was SLU with a victory, but Josh Schertz wasn't too pleased about it. We'll have the latest. The Blues lost at Winnipeg. And yes, I'm back from the national championship. I had a chance to chat with Mark Cuban. We'll hear a little bit of that at 7:15.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. President Trump brings his dispute over Greenland to the World Economic Forum. His helicopter has just landed in Davos after a 3-hour delay prompted by an electrical issue on Air Force One. Correspondent Ed O'Keefe.
He is going to, at some point in his speech today, directly address his plans to try to take over Greenland in front of the crowd, perhaps most skeptical of it. European leaders who say if he keeps pushing for this plan, it could potentially rip apart the transatlantic alliance.
Takers for one of the president's latest creations.
So far, at least 9 countries, including Israel, the United Arab Emirates, and Morocco, have agreed to join the Board of Peace, and invitation letters have been sent to others, including Egypt and Turkey. The board is meant to supervise a newly appointed committee of Palestinian technocrats that is supposed to disarm Hamas and begin the resurrection of the Gaza Strip.
Linda Gradstein from Jerusalem. A dangerous winter storm is still slamming the Great Lakes region, dumping heavy snow, creating whiteout conditions. A new system is moving in from Oklahoma.
Expected to wallop parts of the South beginning Friday, where people are stocking up on supplies like firewood and salt. One plumbing service in Texas is helping people prevent their pipes from freezing.
It is important just to be proactive and make sure that things don't escalate into something that can be really bad.
Fed Chair Jerome Powell is expected to be at the Supreme Court today to hear oral arguments in a case involving President Trump and his bid to fire Board Governor Lisa Cook. Legal contributor Jessica Levinson.
The issue is whether the Supreme Court should pause the district court's ruling. Again, the district court finding that the president could not fire Lisa Cook based on these allegations.
He accuses Cook of mortgage fraud. Prince Harry front and center at court in London.
I'm Vicky Barker at the Foreign Desk. Prince Harry walked into Britain's High Court and into the witness box. He's just said that what he calls his circle of trust shrank because he thought close friends were leaking details about his private life. Details he now contends were actually obtained through illegal phone hacking by the Daily Mail newspapers, something the papers deny.
A new ranking from the American Heart Association. Cardiologist Sadia Khan at Northwestern University.
Unfortunately, heart disease continues to be the leading cause of death, but we are seeing a decline from last year and return to the pre-COVID death rates for heart disease and stroke.
Stroke, now the 4th leading cause of death in the U.S. Dow futures are down 132. This is CBS News.
I'm Major Garrett. Follow and listen to The Takeout on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
You've got a big day, so you use Unstoppable Scent Boosters to give your laundry non-stop freshness. So no matter how long the day goes, you
can't stop this power, this walk, this pose, this strut, this look, this talk.
Your clothes will be so fresh you can confidently strut into that end of the day meeting like a
bosses. Let's talk business in my office.
Add new Unstoppable Speeds to your wash for 24-hour non-stop freshness, so you can smell unstoppable.
It is 7:04. We have some clouds in downtown St. Louis. It is 33 degrees right now. Feels like 26. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Some breaking news overnight. Our partners at Fox 2 heard from St. Louis police who say they found a man dead in a Central West End alley on Olive near Whittier. The man had been stabbed at least once. The discovery may be linked to a missing person case in another jurisdiction. We'll share more details as they become available.
After a marathon 5-hour meeting, Franklin County Planning and Zoning Commissioners voted to pause all data center development for the next 6 months.
Last night's unanimous decision stops a proposed facility near Shaw Nature Reserve that supporters argued would be a big economic boost. De'Aaron Sprayberry with Operating Engineers Local 513.
This project is going to bring construction jobs to the area, that more man hours that might exceed Lavity Power Plant back in the late 1960s. And the amount of revenue that this is going to bring to the county is probably something this county's never seen.
However, opponents question whether the local power grid could handle the demand. Resident Patricia Schuba.
Of course, the power plant can't meet the demands of an unknown number of these data centers in Franklin County, which means you've probably committed to allowing Ameren to build a larger plant in Lavity or to convert to gas or something to be able to power these data centers. And that's not fair to us.
Saying they need more time to study these impacts, commissioners voted to put things on hold until midsummer.
Meanwhile, aldermen in Warrenton approved a multi-billion-dollar data center last night, despite concerns about having to provide fire protection. They debated trying to force Crusoe Energy to fund specialized training for firefighters to handle lithium-ion battery risks. But in the final moments of their 5-hour meeting, the mayor and city attorney conceded they had no legal power to make it stick.
You're missing the firefighter training and equipment. I think if we're committing to do it, you can make it a condition. But I don't think we can put it to CUP. Firefighter training and any equipment that they need.
I don't think we can require that in our ordinance.
That is correct, Mr. Mayor.
The requirement was dropped. Aldermen still moved ahead after noting the developer verbally promised to donate the training anyway.
It's now 7:06, and the business desk is sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. The short-lived Homer G. Phillips Memorial Hospital, part of Paul McKee's Northside Regeneration, has reopened with a new operator. It's now called Archview ER and Hospital, and it's being run by a Houston-based company.
According to the Business Journal, Nutex operates 27 emergency care and hospital facilities in 12 states and plans to open an additional 15 locations across the country. Archview opened last month without much fanfare and has been seeing about 10 patients a day.
It's 7:07, traffic and weather next.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. A question I get all the time is, how did we become the largest injury firm in the world? We have over 1,000 lawyers in all 50 states and close to 6,000 coworkers. Our call center is on duty 24/7. You can reach us at any time at forthepeople.com. But the real reason is we won a lot. When you visit our website, go to our verdicts and settlements. There you will see what our clients were offered and what they were awarded at trial. All those verdicts help us resolve many cases fairly and early. You see, nothing beats reputation. The insurance industry knows who we are. We even have insurance adjusters call us for representation because they know too. We've made it easy. On your mobile device or computer, go to forthepeople.com and we will get busy. It's that easy. Call today. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
He's Donald Trump's #1 enemy in Congress, Chicago politician Dick Durbin. Now, Durbin has a new scheme. He's doing the dirty work to benefit corporate megastores. Durbin's bill could cut corners on your credit card security, putting your personal data at risk. Big chain retailers and warehouse stores want to inflate their profits, and liberal Dick Durbin would help them do it. Tell senators, say no to the megastores and Dick Durbin. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Let's get a check of both traffic and weather. Today is probably the best day of the week if you needed to do something outdoors, like walk the dog or who knows, because it just gets colder after today. We'll have details on that coming up after we check in with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, things are looking good out there. In fact, just between the top of the hour and now, they've cleared that stalled auto we had southbound 170 at the U Club Tower, so things are almost back to normal. It just looks a little heavy on southbound 170 coming down between Ladue and the Parkway, so thinned out pretty quickly, thankfully. And if you're traveling that way, that's good news, obviously. We do have an incident. It looks to me like it's mostly on the right shoulder, northbound 270 before Doherty Ferry, a lot of flashing lights there. The northbound 270 is bogged down pretty much back at Tesson Ferry, up through that point. Not a solid jam, but just slow the whole way up along the line there because of it. Northbound 55, you got slow traffic from Bayless up to pretty much Holly Hills. Eastbound 64 at the Interbelt's a little slow. Southbound 61's also looking better. We had delays W down to Highway P. Now it's south of P down onto 64 to Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Again, it's all a slowdown as opposed to a jam that we had earlier. And downtown, westbound 64, just a little heavy at the Poplars, so even that's improved over the last 10 minutes. Next update at 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg with our forecasts.
KMOX AccuWeather, breezy today as cloud break for sunshine, high 47. Breezy, turning colder tonight, clear early, some cloud late, low 21. Tomorrow, sunshine filtered through high clouds, the high 39. Friday, breezy and much colder with clouds and limited sun, high only 12. AccuWeather real field temperatures below zero, snow on the way this weekend. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now we have clouds, 33 in Florissant, 33 in St. Peter's, starting to clear up there. Still some cloud cover here, 33 downtown at the Arch.
Wells Fargo is making a move to capture more of the ultra-wealthy market, but says it won't come at the expense of St. Louis. Michael Calhoun is checking into it.
The bank calls it a strategic commitment to a high-opportunity market. Wells Fargo is moving its wealth management headquarters to West Palm Beach, Florida, placing its top executives in the same neighborhood as many of its richest clients. But for the thousands of employees at the Jefferson Avenue campus in St. Louis, it is business as usual. The bank tells KMOX numerous wealth management senior leaders will remain here and in New York and in Charlotte. Plus, the brokerage division is unaffected, maintaining the financial services firm's St. Louis lineage that began with A.G. Edwards more than a century ago.
Healthcare crisis averted for thousands of Missourians. SSM Health and United Healthcare say they have reached a new multi-year agreement ending months of negotiations.
The deal ensures patients with United Healthcare commercial and Medicaid plans can keep their doctors and avoid out-of-network charges. The two sides initially signed a short-term extension to keep coverage running through January, but this new contract locks in access for the long term.
KMOX has a follow-up on a story out of St. Charles. It deals with Mayor Dan Borgmeyer proposing a communications department.
Right now it's combined with our events and promotions. Well, 7 years ago when I took over as mayor, we had 5 promotions and events. Now we have 51.
Borgmeyer maintains since the communications department is combined with those other departments, they're overworked and communications are not being done to his satisfaction.
I proposed separating those two and hiring a new director of communications. Beth Norval does an amazing job with our festivals and everything. No contention there. And then our director of tourism, Convention and Visitors Bureau, resigned a few months ago, and we're in the process of replacing him.
Main Street business owners and actors for the holiday program say Borgmeyer's proposal will cause jobs to be lost. The mayor says that's not true. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
A $250 million accounting error is actually a bit of good news for the state of Missouri. State Budget Director Dan Hug told the House Budget Committee this week that the fiscal year's ending balance will now be $261 million instead of $4.7 million.
That said, it is still the lowest end of fiscal year general revenue balance since 2018. Hug warned lawmakers that ongoing expenditures are still more than revenue. Meanwhile, Governor Kehoe and other lawmakers are committed to eliminating the state income tax, which makes up about 2/3 of the state's revenue.
If you're wondering why borrowing costs are climbing, even while the Federal Reserve holds steady, the answer lies in the bond market. Stiefel Director of Investments Eric Roberts says the central bank actually has limited power over the rates currently squeezing consumers.
We're not talking about what the Fed changes right here. We're talking about what the Fed doesn't control, which are longer-term bond yields.
Roberts says those specific yields, like the 10-year Treasury note, are the actual foundation for mortgage and auto loan rates.
Well, in my trip to Miami to witness Indiana winning the national championship, among those I was able to visit with on the field, Mark Cuban, who is worth $9.6 billion. Indiana University alum, has donated to the school and to its NIL fund to help fund this championship roster. He says it's not about buying the best players. We
don't need the most expensive players. We want the one that fit his system. We want the guys who want to come in, know the role, try to excel at it, have great coaches that know how to take players that might only be here a year or two and turn them into role players that you need to be successful. I mean, just watching it all come together.
Watching it come together, he says, has been very rewarding. And something certainly that has been heartfelt across the Indiana alumni base. It's 7:15. And St. Louis University feels the same about its basketball team. This is a team that was put together by NIL dollars and by great coaching. The Billikens have been well schooled, and they are at the point now where they are 18-1 overall. 6-0 in the Atlantic 10, ranked 24th in the nation. They picked up another win yesterday, 81-77 over Duquesne, but they were sharply criticized by their coach, Josh Schertz, for the performance. They were up by 14 with under 7 minutes to go and let that lead almost slip away entirely. Duquesne cut it to 1, had a chance to tie it in the final minute, but missed a 3. Billikens got the rebound, got fouled. Deion Brown hit a free throw, and the game was sealed at that point, 81-77, but not forgotten by Coach Schertz.
The second stretch, we went back from 6 to 14. Good. We did do a lot of good things in that stretch. It was just every other stretch of the game stunk. and the closing was, you got to execute under pressure down the stretch. The ball's going to go somewhere, and Rob knows, because we get the ball in his hands, middle of the floor, 4-on-3. He turns it over 3 times. Yeah. Unacceptable, and all in the same play.
And very out of character.
Out of character.
Yeah.
The refs aren't calling it. Maybe they were fouled, maybe they weren't. I can't tell. But end of the day, late game, they're gonna on the road. You're gonna swallow your whistle. You got to be strong, and you got to get the ball off. We're in a 4-3 advantage. We've got to make the right play out of there. We're putting them in middle pick and roll in the middle of the floor, getting the ball in the seams, and we got to play behind that. And he's got to be strong on the ball. He knows it. He's Rob's. As maybe the most accountable player I've ever coached, and we just got to be better. And that was one of those ones. What do they say? Snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Is that right? We did our damnedest to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory.
They win at 81-77 over Duquesne, 18-1 on the season. They'll visit St. Bonaventure on Friday. Miami of Ohio is ranked right behind them at 25. They're now 20-0. The Redhawks won at Kent State in overtime, 107-101. Number 21, Georgia, won at Missouri, 74-72. SEMO beat Tennessee Martin down in Cape Girardeau, 66-50. On the schedule today, number 11, Illinois will host Maryland. That one tips off in Champaign at 6. I'll be over in Peoria for Bradley's home game against Indiana State at 6. Also in the Valley tonight at 7, Southern Illinois visits Valparaiso. And at 8 tonight, it's Northern Iowa at Illinois State. The Blues fell 3-1 to the Winnipeg Jets, a team that was at the top of the Western Conference now. They are last year they were. Now they're at the bottom. And the Blues are right with them. They are tied for last place now at the bottom of the Central Division. Baseball, Carlos Beltran has made the Hall of Fame. He was officially announced yesterday as an inductee and said,
really have changed. Just being able to be named a Hall of Fame and what this really means to me, to Puerto Rico, to our family.
Former Cardinal is joined by Braves outfielder Andrew Jones, who spent an incredible career in Atlanta. Beltran bounced from Kansas City to the New York Mets to the Cardinals, among others. Joe Buck is also going into the Hall of Fame that weekend, July 24th through the 27th in Cooperstown, as is Jeff Kent. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code RAIN to get up to a $5 per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RAIN to get up to a $5 per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RAIN.
Hey, St. Louis City SC fans, mark your calendars now. The Boys in Red return to Energizer Park to kick off Season 4 Saturday, February 21st. And you could be there for the dawn of a new golden era of St. Louis soccer. Go to stlcitysc.com/tickets and reserve your seat now for the MLS home opener versus Charlotte FC. Limited quantities remain. See you soon, St. Louis.
St. Louis has a voice.
KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
That voice has shared our stories from headline to history. From moment to memory.
Presenting the Barnyard Follies.
Among those voices, Bill Wilkerson.
He fakes drop sets, looking, throwing upfield. It is.
Working at KMOX is an honor and a responsibility to represent this community. It's one we take seriously. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
721, this is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Tom Ackerman and Roger Brand, who is in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center with the latest on your ride in.
Well, I got slow traffic right now, Debbie, on northbound 270. In fact, it backs up north of 55 to Tesson Ferry, slow to 44, and it backs up from 44 up through about Big Bend. That incident before Doherty Ferry, I still see the flashing lights, but it's over to the right shoulder now. That's part of the reason why. Very busy. Not a solid jam, but a couple of places it does back up along that run. Northbound Highway 55, you're on the brakes from just north of the Union Road overpass up to Weber. A couple of slowdowns north of there up to about Holly Hills. So again, it gets better. Southbound 61 still has a few heavy spots. Just slow going basically from Highway P down to 64, opening up before you get to the boulevard. It's a little heavy right at 170. Westbound 64 Hampton through Bellevue slow. South 170 just a little busy at the U Club Tower. And downtown we're clear right now. Westbound 64, no delays across the Poplar. Next update at 7:30 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg says we're going to have sunshine today with a high of 47 degrees. You can see it start to clear up here downtown after some early clouds. It'll be partly cloudy late tonight, and we'll drop to a low of 21. Tomorrow, sunshine again through some high clouds, a high of 39. But get ready for a frigid weekend. Friday, we drop to a high of only 12 with real field temperatures below zero. The snow comes in on Saturday, intermittent snow into Saturday night. We'll see, depending on the exact track of the storm, where the higher snow amounts are. But so far, we're looking at 1 to 3 inches for Saturday with a high of just 12. Sunday, a high of only 22. Currently, it's 33 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 7:23. It was a hot topic at offices around the region on Tuesday. Did you feel the earthquake? No damage reported from the 5-mile deep 3.8 magnitude tremor southeast of Springfield, Illinois that hit in the early hours.
This is a one-off in that particular region.
Dr. Robert Herman's a professor emeritus at St. Louis University whose work with the Earthquake Center there is widely known. He says he's not surprised people in the St. Louis area felt it due to the type of older crust we have here.
The earthquake that occurred in the Wabash Valley in 1968, that was felt, I think, in about 15 states, whereas comparable earthquakes out in the western U.S. wouldn't even be felt more than 100 miles away.
Herman says the big takeaway from this event is the rapidness the quake's intensity and possible damage impact was assessed and transmitted to emergency responders. Brad Choate, KMOX News.
A dangerous winter storm is still slamming the Great Lakes region with heavy snow that is creating whiteout conditions, and there is more to come. Here is CBS meteorologist Tony Sadiku.
Another Arctic blast headed our way for the Midwest to end the week. Numbers could be 20 to 30 below normal. That means some of you could wake up to wind chills as low as 45 below zero. Highs on Friday, 8 below Minneapolis, 14 in Kansas City.
We aren't expecting to get any ice here in the St. Louis region over the weekend, but we will have bitter cold temperatures and, again, the possibility of snow. Forecast models are inconsistent at this point. We will have a visit with Joe Lundberg at 7:40 this morning.
Dietitians have now had a chance to fully digest the U.S. government's new food pyramid.
The new dietary guidelines emphasize eating lots of protein and healthy fats and not highly processed foods and refined carbs. Registered dietitian Michelle Wilson with Brands Nutrition on Total Information AM.
What I like about it is that it emphasizes whole food versions of things. I think that that's never a bad thing. And emphasizing protein isn't necessarily a bad thing either, but something that's concerning to me is that tiny little bit at the bottom that's whole grains. It just seems kind of small to me.
Wilson says the new food pyramid graphic is a bit deceptive and out of proportion, and could lead you to possibly misjudge how much of each food group you should be eating. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
At 7:25 on Total Information AM, new research suggests which types of exercise may help you live longer. Michael Wallace of CBS.
A study in the journal BMJ Medicine looked at many types of exercise. It found people at the lowest risk of premature death did the widest range of activities. Taking each exercise individually, walking had the lowest risk of early death. Racket sports like tennis and squash were next, followed by rowing, lifting weights, and running. Swimming and cycling only had a slight impact on living longer.
And now CBS's Michael George on a potential connection between exposure to wildfire smoke during the final months of pregnancy and an increased risk of a child later being diagnosed with autism.
Exposure to wildfire smoke during the last few months of pregnancy may raise the risk of autism in a child. A Tulane University study found children whose mothers were exposed to more than 10 days of wildfire smoke during the third trimester had a 23% higher risk of being diagnosed with autism by the age of 5. Researchers say their findings are just one piece of the puzzle, but show that air pollution may contribute to autism risk.
Well, congratulations to the average American 50-something on becoming a millionaire, at least on paper. A new study by a financial services company claims that the typical American in their 50s is now worth $1.4 million, mostly because home values have risen so much in the last few years. By the way, the net worth of an average American millennial is a comparatively measly $321,000.
Wow. 7:27, time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
It's Tom Ackerman. You know what's a nice looking car? A Genesis. A lot of people trading in those Audis and BMWs for Genesis. If you're in the market for something new, let Genesis of St. Charles bring the test drive to you. They're closer than you think. They're at 5601 Veterans Memorial Parkway. That's off Mid-Rivers Mall Drive and I-70. I invite you to go in there. You'll absolutely love the experience. I've talked about it many times, the luxury service. But you can get started online at genesisofstcharles.com. That's genesisofstcharles.com. And when you do, it's no games, no gimmicks, just upfront pricing. Unlock the e-price today. Genesis of St. Charles is your premier Genesis dealer. They are the #1 Genesis dealer in the state of Missouri, as a matter of fact, and they can back that up with GMA sales records for 2025. Don't wait. Now is the time to buy a new car, and Genesis of St. Charles will take great care of you. GenesisofStCharles.com.
Hey, Cardinal Cowboy here. Who would have thought a car crash would have led to charities, TV shows, and cheering with the best fans in the world? I'm thankful for every day. And so are my friends at Renner Garage Door. They've been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. With help from trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, honest family-style service you can count on. So giddy up and get your free repair or replacement quote today. Giddy up!
R-E-N-N-E-R, R-E-N-N-E-R.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
that hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Hey guys, Dave Glover here for the Dave Glover Show. So, what is my show? My show is 4 different people living 4 different lives, all coming together every day between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. to talk about life, actual life, not so much headlines or did you see what Trump did today or XYZ. Never predictable because I never know what I'm going to talk about from one segment to the next. So it truly is unique and unpredictable. Join us.
104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 7:30, and right now we've got clear skies in downtown St. Louis. It is 33 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brand is in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, northbound 270 is backed up as you ramp on from 55. That ramp's jammed for 55 drivers. Once you merge onto North 270, it's just basically slow all the way up to Manchester. There's just a brief backup at 44 just for a short duration. And it's a little slow 64 to Ladue after that. South 270 seeing volume now from 364 down to Ladue. Eastbound 70 drivers a little heavy east of Z to the 64 ramp, and then 94 to 5th Street's kind of crowded. Southbound 61 from Highway P down onto 64 to about Lake St. Louis Boulevard is heavy. There's a little slowdown at Winghaven. It does back up McKnight through Hanley. South 170 delays near the Parkway, just slow going there primarily. Westbound 64 Hampton through Bellevue is heavy. Northbound 55, you've got that backup from about the Union Road overpass up through Bayless, and then it's slow in a couple of spots up to Holly Hills, and some more volume downtown now. Westbound 64 Baugh to the 70 split, and then west of 3rd Street heavy to the Poplar. Next update at 7:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be pretty nice today. We're already seeing the clouds moving out, and we'll have sunshine and a high of 47 degrees. Enjoy that, because tomorrow's high is 39 with sunshine. Then Friday's our high is only 12 degrees, but it's going to feel like it's below zero most of the day. 33 degrees out there right now.
It's 7:32. A blaze drew first responders to a homeless encampment on North 10th and Cass Tuesday. According to city police spokesman Mitch McCoy, fire crews arrived first to extinguish the flames, finding a man throwing a liquid from a gas can around, threatening to burn the encampment down. McCoy says the liquid the man was throwing didn't reach the fire, but got very close.
This is a fairly large area that had burned. This could have been incredibly dangerous and put many lives in jeopardy, not just those who live here, but also those that were responding to help put out the flames.
The makeshift warming shelter on the lot that has drawn concern from city officials was not a part of the fire. Formal charges are pending against the man who threatened to burn the encampment down.
Amtrak announcing overnight the cancellation of today's Lincoln Service Train 302. That is the St. Louis to Chicago route. Amtrak says they will provide buses to get people to their destinations. No specific reason was given for the cancellation.
St. Louis County Police released the findings of their inquiry into the deadly shooting at a Maryland Heights Walgreens last November. Officers rushed to the scene after a 911 call of a man with a gun.
Also, there's a white male, 300 plus pounds, with a red jacket, so that you could see he has a pistol in his hand.
Lieutenant Colonel Jerry Lohr says despite a warning, 23-year-old Jacob Mercer refused to surrender when officers found him by the pharmacy.
Officers issued multiple verbal commands for Mr. Mercer to put down his weapon and show his hands. However, Mr. Mercer refused and fired at the officers. One officer returned fire.
Investigators later determined Mercer placed that initial 911 call himself.
Wells Fargo moving its wealth management headquarters to Florida. Despite that shift south, the company says numerous members of the leadership team will continue to be based in St. Louis, where the Wells Fargo Advisors brokerage arm remains headquartered.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your Money Minute next.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Presenting a Gain Flings love story. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus this morning when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. Alas, I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Try Gain Flings with OxyBoost and Febreze.
It is 7:35. Time for your Money Minute from Bloomberg, sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Wells Fargo is heading to Florida. The bank is moving the headquarters for its wealth management division to West Palm Beach. It's the first big bank to run this business from the heart of the wealth boom in South Florida. South Florida has drawn a multitude of billionaires and corporations in recent years, boosted by tax advantages and a booming finance and tech scene. Speaking of wealth, it was a rough day for investors yesterday. Stocks tumbled as tensions escalated between Europe and the U.S. over President Trump's push to take over Greenland. This morning, stocks are steadying, with futures edging slightly higher. Investors are waiting to hear from President Trump, who's due to speak in Davos, Switzerland at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And home sellers are outnumbering buyers by a record margin. According to Redfin, there were 47% more home sellers than buyers in December, giving buyers who have been in the market a little bit of negotiating power. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the Let's Revitalize Our Neighborhoods commitment. This is the Roll Up Our Sleeves and Pitch In commitment. This is Busey, where our commitment to strengthen our communities is a top priority. Through energetic, engaged volunteers, through monetary support, community leadership, and advocacy. Because Busey is more than a bank that does well, we're a bank that does good. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth, since 1868. Member FDIC.
IHOP Value Menu. $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
It looks like winter finally has arrived. It's really nice weather we were getting. Nice that we kept it all the way through, but it's time for your furnaces to start breaking. If it happens to you, please give me a call, and we'll get somebody right out there and get your heat real fast. If you choose, it makes more sense to replace your furnace. We can do that next day. So if you need service, give me a call. Bart Inman. It's one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, the easiest number. 314-293-2600. Again, Missouri and Illinois, only one number, 314-293-2600, or go online at bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Fairwinds River's Edge is more than a place to live. It's a place to belong. Come see why we have been voted Best Independent Senior Living Community for 4 years in a row by U.S. News and World Report. We think you'll like it here, and the experts agree. Come see us for yourself. Call to schedule a tour and complimentary lunch, or to learn more about our upcoming app university that can help enhance your everyday life. Find us online at fairwindsriversedge.com.
It's 2026 and it's time to get your home zero resified by calling our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $119 plus a free hallway, and take 15% off regularly priced services when you mention the KMWEX special. ZeroResSTL.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's 7:39 on KMOX. Continuing the news this morning, the Federal Trade Commission says it is not going to drop its allegations that Meta is a monopoly.
The Federal Trade Commission says it's going to appeal a federal judge's November ruling in a historic antitrust case against Meta. The FTC alleges that for more than a decade, Meta Platforms has illegally maintained a monopoly in social networking. A ruling against Meta would have forced it to spin off its Instagram and WhatsApp. But following a trial, federal judge James Boasberg ruled the company does not hold a monopoly in social networking. Meta says in a statement that the court's decision was correct and that it will remain focused on innovating and investing in America. I'm Donna Warder.
It is now 7:40, and it's time for us to get another check of the roadways and the weather as well. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
A lot of slow going on North 270 right now, Debbie. This traffic report's a service of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, basically from 55 all the way up to Manchester, and then Clayton Road to Ladue. It's all off the pace. Southbound 270, 364 down to Ladue. You're in the same boat through that stretch. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, a little busy coming through Highway Z, a little busy 94 to 5th Street, so not bad. Southbound 61, P midway down to Wentzville Parkway, 64. As you cross over from 61 onto 64 to the Boulevard, you're heavy. Chesterfield Parkway west to about Timberlake and east of Lindbergh through the Interbelt. Westbound 64 Hampton headed out through Big Bend is pretty slow. South 170 bogs down between Delmar and Ladue. Northbound 55, a little slow approaching Revis, but the Union Road overpass up to River de Pere, pretty solid. Westbound 64, 70 split across the Poplars, slow. And eastbound 70, looks like we have a crash at Salisbury or jammed at Grand. Westbound Gawkers are slow from the Musel Veterans Bridge headed that way. Need a new garage door? Entries are open now for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. Deadline to enter is the end of the month. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. Next update is 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. I was just noting, looking out the window here at the parks surrounding our building in downtown St. Louis, the squirrels are very active. It's almost as if they know that a winter storm is coming and they need to gather materials and hunker down.
Maybe they have some foresight as to what's coming. But yeah, it is not going to be really nice this weekend. In fact, the cold is retreating temporarily over the next 24 hours, and then it starts to come back in. And when it does, it's going to come back in with a vengeance as we go into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And that'll be followed, of course, by our winter storm. Today, the clouds are starting to thin out now. It's going to turn out to be a mostly sunny day. We're expecting an afternoon high to get up to about 47. And overnight tonight, breezy, turning colder by morning. We're down to 21. Tomorrow, sunshine through some high cloud. Pretty decent day overall, 39, which is really about normal for this time of the year. A lot colder and breezy Friday. Any sun will give way to clouds or high 12. AccuWeather real field temperatures are going to be below zero throughout the day. Then it looks like Saturday will be cloudy and frigid. Some snow develops probably early Saturday and last into Saturday night and early Sunday before ending. At least 1 to 3 inches seems likely, and there's the potential for more depending on how far north the storm can track Our high Saturday 12. Behind the storm, cloudy and cold on Sunday with a high of 22. Right now, 35 at St. Peter's, 35 in Florissant. It's partly cloudy and 36 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:43. The Madison County Board could vote tonight on a resolution proclaiming Friday, January 30th, a day of unity in honor of Renee Nicole Good, the woman shot dead by an ICE officer in Minneapolis. That resolution asks that people across Madison County observe a moment of silence at 10 that morning, then take part in an act of service in their community. The board meeting starts at 5 tonight at the County Administration Building in Edwardsville.
Police chiefs in Minnesota say federal immigration agents have harassed some of their officers. CBS News Minneapolis reporter Derek James says federal immigration agents held an off-duty officer at gunpoint and smashed a phone out of her hands when she attempted to record the interaction.
That off-duty officer is a U.S. citizen, a member of Brooklyn Park Police, and person of color. Her chief, Mark Bruley, says ICE left only after she identified herself without explanation or apology. Bruley and the other law enforcement leaders who spoke say every officer who has reported similar encounters is also a person of color, and that what's happening to police mirrors complaints coming from community members, stopped without cause and asked to prove their legal status.
Utah Senator Mike Lee is calling for a public execution of Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin.
The Republican senator posted on X, Tyler Robinson publicly executed Charlie Kirk. Tyler Robinson should be publicly executed.
Pre-trial statements can taint a jury.
Utah Attorney Clayton Sims says everyone has a right to a fair and impartial jury.
If a U.S. senator takes an oath to uphold the Constitution and uphold our values, that's not in conformity with our values.
Prosecutors have said they will seek the death penalty for Robinson should he be convicted of the murder. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
7:45 Blues hockey last night. They fell at Winnipeg 3-1. The Blues have lost back-to-back games. Not only that, but their loss to Winnipeg drops them into a last-place tie with the Jets at the bottom of the Central Division. As for the Billikens, they were victorious last night.
Now from outside the gym, a miss, but they recover at the buzzer. They're not going to count the bucket as they scooped up and laid it in, and somehow the Billikens survive. The Billikens survive a crazy second half where they built up a 17-point lead. It frittered away and now end up winning by 4. Holy cow, Earl Austin.
Yeah, and Earl Austin Jr. and Bob Ramsey visited with Josh Schertz about it.
Tired, we got it to 17. We're about to sub in and really kick this thing into high gear. And, when we go with our group and we just, I thought it really poor start to the, that group. And it went from 17 to 6 when I moved them and went back with the starters. I was like, we're going to, the momentum's just swinging too much. And then the starters went back, and I thought ramped them back up to 14.
Yeah.
And took the lead back up in a major way. And then from there it just the last we turned it over. We were soft with the ball. We were soft the glass. Free throw rebounding was ridiculous. I mean, it's been an issue all year, and it's such a it's a dead ball situation, and what's coming. And I mean, we've talked about it. We've worked on it. We drill it. And yet, we're unable to come up with the ball. I mean, there was one possession, there was a 1-on-1. They missed it. They got the rebound. They made the first, missed the second, got the rebound, made a 3. I mean, like we just couldn't get out of our own way from the press break. Dion's taking it out where Brady should be taking it out. Then Brady just shoves the guy to the ground to give him a foul. I mean, just like it was. I mean, grade school teams would be embarrassed to do some of the things that we did.
He tells it like it is, doesn't he? Josh Schertz and the Billikens get the win, but clearly the coach is not happy. 81-77 over Duquesne. SLU is 18-1 and 6-0 in the Atlantic 10. They're the 24th ranked team in America. 21 is Georgia, and they won at Missouri last night, 74-72. SEMO beat Tennessee Martin 66-50. 11th ranked team in the country is Illinois. They'll host Maryland tonight at 6 o'clock in the Missouri Valley Conference. It's a 6 o'clock tip for Bradley and Indiana State in Peoria. I'll be there for that. Southern Illinois at Valpo at 7. Northern Iowa at Illinois State at 8. I was at the national championship on Monday watching Indiana beat Miami to win and finish the season 16-0. You just look at Kurt Cignetti's influence on this team and what he has done. This is Charlie Becker, the wide receiver. He said before this that they'd have to go back and watch the film and see what went wrong in the game against Miami. That's how much he's drilled this into their heads. They just won the national championship. His roommate is Heisman Trophy winner Fernando Mendoza, and you can hear the influence of Mendoza on Becker.
I mean, that's just a testament to how strong of a bond and how much brotherhood we have on this team. You know, these are the most special guys, and I mean, they're my family now, and I'll die for them. And I just love these guys so much. They're willing to die on the field, and I love them so much.
Indiana finishes 16-0. They'll celebrate on campus on Saturday. Carlos Beltran and family celebrating. Beltran has reached the Baseball Hall of Fame along with Andrew Jones, former Cardinals outfielder, spent most of his career with the Royals and the Mets. And he gets in along with Jeff Kent. Joe Buck will be honored that weekend, July 24th through the 27th in Cooperstown. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hey, Happy New Year, big boy. Hey, what's up, Izzy? Also known as the Kool-Aid Man. You got any New Year's resolutions?
I got one, Eddie. I've promised myself to spend more time on that toasty, warm, huge, heated outdoor patio of yours. It's nothing like having your coat off, drinking the coldest beer in town with hundreds of your family, friends.
Man, it is a toasted patio, and that's a great resolution. And, you know, thanks for not mentioning things like weight loss and health kick. And those would be hard in Fast Eddie's. It'd be hard to lose any kind of weight or take away from anything when you got the 5-pound Fat Eddie burger, the hot chick on a stick, that big Elwood on a stick, and those succulent peel and eat shrimp.
Yeah, I am not losing any weight hanging around your place. I learned it's a lot easier just to make those resolutions simple and fun, buddy.
Man, and that's easy. You're right. That's a great resolution. So make your resolution fun. And head on over to Fast Eddie's Bon Air. You know where to go across that big, beautiful Clark Bridge and come into Alton, Illinois. So like Mr. Shannon always said, if you're 21 and in the mood, we'll see you at Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Kool-Aid Man.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA.
Start your engine, St. Louis. The St. Louis Auto Show is back, and it's bigger, faster, and more exciting than ever. See the latest cars, trucks, SUVs, and electric vehicles, all at the America Center, January 22nd through 25th. From cutting-edge technology to luxury rides and family favorites, this is the ultimate auto experience. Whether you consider yourself a car enthusiast or not, this event has something for everyone. More information at KMOX.com/events.
Total Information AM. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:51. Here is Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the northbound 270 drivers, you have heavy traffic as you ramp on from 55, basically right there all the way up to Ladue. South 270, 364 to Ladue, that's still busy. Eastbound 70, some slow traffic east of K to 79. That's still a little crowded. 94 5th Street area and a little slow down through Cypress. Not that bad. Southbound 61, a little slow coming through the Wentzville Parkway area onto 64 to Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Boone's Crossing, though, to Timberlake is heavier now. 270 into Lindbergh, they cleared a minor crash, and then it's still heavy. May 9th to Big Bend. South 170 delays at Olive. Westbound 64, the Science Center all the way to Hanley's pretty heavy. 44 eastbound Bowles to Miraz is slow, and then Elm into Laclede Station's kind of busy. Northbound 55 stop and go pockets from the Union Road overpass up to Holly Hills, and then 44 downtown. You've got slow traffic from Park Avenue out on westbound 70 through Salisbury. They're looking at an eastbound wreck that has only the center lane open at Salisbury, and a jam back to O'Fallon Park, and westbound 64 Ball to the Poplar is still pretty slow. Next update is 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg says that snow is coming. So let's track this. Today, breezy, sunny, high 47. Tonight, breezy, low 21. Tomorrow, sunny, high 39. Friday, we get down to 12 for the high. That's it. It'll feel like below zero with the real feel temperatures. And then for Saturday, cloudy and frigid, intermittent snow into Saturday night, ending early Sunday. How much? It can accumulate 1 to 3 inches, but it'll depend on where this exact track of the storm is as to who gets what in terms of higher snow amounts. A high, we know, will be just 12 degrees on Saturday. Sunday's high just 22. Currently, we have some sun now in downtown St. Louis. It's 33 degrees.
At 7:53, KMOX continues following developments of St. Charles City Mayor Dan Borgmeier's proposal to revamp his town's communications department.
Main Street business owners and even residents are concerned changing the status quo will bring job losses. Mayor Borgmeier says communications is combined with events and promotions.
So I really have not suggested any changes to anything other than the establishment of these 3 departments, which takes council action. Council will have to say, yes, we will accept these 3 departments.
Borgmeier tells KMOX in the process he has found efficiencies, savings, and things that should be changed.
So until the council steps forward and does what they need to do, I mean, they may say, well, we just like it the way it is. I don't get a vote.
Maria Kina, KMOX News.
Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe says it's time for Missouri's budget to return to pre-COVID levels. Kehoe says over the past several months, he and his staff have worked through the state operating budget to identify programs that no longer best serve the state or that cannot be afforded through today's budget climate.
This budget cuts more than $600 million from the core, starting to correct a future spending imbalance of potentially over $2 billion. Additionally, our recommendation works to bring ongoing spending back in line with ongoing revenues.
Kehoe has proposed a $54.5 billion state budget for the upcoming fiscal year.
Missouri House Speaker Pro Tem Chad Perkins of Bowling Green fully supports changes proposed to the group that oversees high school sports, the Missouri State High School Activities Association, also known as MISHA. Perkins says there should be a governor-appointed panel instead of the current school-elected 10-member board.
They use the name Missouri in their title. By God, they ought to be answerable to the state of Missouri, but right now they're answerable to no one. They think they are the king of high school sports in the state of Missouri, and they are not. MISHA doesn't care about kids. It's the most corrupt, despicable organization in the state of Missouri, and they need to be broken.
MISHA says it's aware of the proposals and plans to stay involved in the discussions. In a statement, the association says it will continue to engage with the legislature to pursue outcomes that best serve schools, students, and communities.
President Trump and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker are offering differing perspectives on the first year of the president's second term in office. WBBM political editor Jeff Buchholz reports from Chicago.
We've done more than any other administration has done by far.
President Trump spent more than 90 minutes at the White House talking up what he described as his accomplishments over the last year, including immigration enforcement, which he says is focused on criminals and mentally ill migrants.
All ICE wants to do is get them out of our country, bring them to prisons and jails and mental institutions from where they came.
But he acknowledged some agents have made mistakes. At a roundtable discussion here on Argyle Street, healthcare facilitator Maritza Patricia Guzman told Governor J.B. Pritzker that the crackdown has left people afraid to apply for benefits they're eligible to receive out of fear they'll be targeted.
They rather pay medical bills, medicine out of pocket.
Afterward, the governor said the president's record is one of failure after failure.
People are paying attention. Maybe not just in Illinois, but now outside of Illinois.
We're with the governor in Uptown, Jeff Buchholz. News Radio 105.9, WBBM.
The president is currently speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. We'll get an update at the top of the hour from CBS.
It is 7:56.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan, along with Dr. Colleen Bosler and Dr. Adam Voss of the Audiology Center. When was the last time you really enjoyed a conversation without straining to hear?
Charlie, so many people think hearing aids just make things louder.
But that's old technology. Today's hearing aids do so much more.
Exactly. With the dual chip technology, our hearing aids actually separate the speech from the background noise.
Which means at a noisy restaurant, you'll hear your friends and family, not the clinking dishes.
And the best part, your brain doesn't have to work overtime trying to fill in the blanks.
So that keeps your mind sharp, your conversations easy, and your relationships stronger.
Because hearing well isn't just about sound, it's about staying connected.
Thanks, doctor. Call the Audiology Center today to schedule your annual hearing evaluation. Don't miss another moment. Call 636-441-7470 or visit theaudiologycenterstl.com.
At Uline,
They know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your nature-made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Looking for your dream home in Wentzville? Welcome to Sutton Farms by Lombardo Homes, where community and comfort come together. Enjoy resort-style living with a private clubhouse, indoor courts, a splash pad, sand volleyball, walking trails, and even a dog park. Design your own custom home in our Parkside, Nature, or Tradition series, all within the top-rated Wentzville School District. Discover the perfect blend of small-town charm and modern convenience at Sutton Farms, located off Piney Road in Wentzville. Visit LombardoHomes.com to learn more.
Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
LW, we still have slow traffic on northbound 270. In fact, we have an incident now at Tesson Ferry. They're trying to clear, so it's jammed from just north of 55 to that point, but then still slow from Gravois all the way up to Ladue. South 270 just through Ladue is slow. Southbound 61, south of Wentzville Parkway on to 64 to almost 3. 64 is busy. East of Boone's Crossing through Clarkson. From 270 up to Spady, and then right at McKnight into Big Bend. South 170 bogs down at Olive. Westbound 64 Science Center to Hanley's pretty heavy. In downtown, we still have this crash. Only the right lane open. Eastbound 70 at Salisbury. It's jammed back to O'Fallon Park. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Pfizer.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. President Trump's begun speaking in Switzerland.
I love Europe, and I want to see Europe go good, but it's not heading in the right direction.
His speech at the Global Economic Gathering is expected to zero in on his plan to take over Greenland. Correspondent Ed O'Keefe is there.
At the World Economic Forum in Davos, Energy Secretary Chris Wright insists Trump's quest for the island isn't about its vast natural resources.
Yeah, of course there's resources there, but it's a remote area. This is not about resource capture at all. This is about national security.
And the president's threat to hit allies with tariffs if they don't back his Greenland plans appears to be driving them away.
It is time to seize this opportunity and build a new independent Europe.
When President Trump talks, Wall Street listens. His push to seize Greenland is now hitting stocks and your 401k. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
Bonds sold off and Treasury yields went up. What does that mean? That means mortgage rates could start to rise, exactly what the president has been arguing against. And this is about supply and demand in the marketplace, not any sort of mantra that is being directed at the Fed.
Gold hit a new high today. A massive winter storm is spreading out over a huge swath of the country, from the lower Midwest on up to New England. CBS meteorologist John Elliott.
More snow for parts of the plains right through the lakes and into upstate New York. How much more snow? 6 inches to possibly another 2 feet on top of the 22 inches you already have.
The Supreme Court hears arguments in President Trump's bid to fire Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. Legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum.
Two questions that will surely be on the justices' minds this morning is the meaning of being fired for cause. Does it only apply to negligence on the job, or can an alleged mortgage fraud application constitute cause for dismissal?
Fed Chair Jerome Powell is expected to attend today's session. Utah Senator Mike Lee is calling for a public execution of Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin.
The Republican senator posted on X, Tyler Robinson publicly executed Charlie Kirk. Tyler Robinson should be publicly executed.
Pre-trial statements can taint a jury.
Utah attorney Clayton Sims says everyone has a right to a fair and impartial jury.
If a U.S. senator takes an oath to uphold the Constitution, and uphold our values, that's not in conformity with our values.
Prosecutors have said they will seek the death penalty for Robinson should he be convicted of the murder. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Dow futures are down 141, S&P futures off 9, NAS futures down 69. This is CBS.
You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored.
At 8:03, we have sunny skies, 35 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Wednesday, January 21st. I'm Megan Lynch. Some breaking news overnight. Our partners at Fox 2 heard from St. Louis City Police who say they found a man dead in a central West End alley on Olive near Whittier. The man had been stabbed at least once. The discovery may be linked to a missing person case in another jurisdiction. We'll share more details as they become available. Data centers in the Westplex, one approved, one rejected, and one Missouri county puts a complete hold on new data centers. We begin with an angry crowd.
Comments, a question. We're not there yet.
Not there yet. We've been talking about it for 30 minutes, but you're not there yet.
Why was it so secret?
No.
Why wasn't you only given 5 days? Please get the comments done so we can move forward, please.
Hundreds of Franklin County residents packed a meeting room into the hallway outside to fight a massive data center proposed near the Shaw Nature Reserve. Franklin County Labor Committee Chairman Dan Kleppel argued the 400-acre facility would be clean, quiet, and a financial windfall for the area.
This will bring hundreds of construction jobs to the area. That is a fact. And that is,
please let the gentleman speak.
As far as the Labor Committee, that is what we are concerned about, bringing good-paying jobs to Franklin County.
Neighbors weren't buying it. They argued the complex would ruin their rural quality of life. Resident Amanda Brown brought proof they aren't just a few not-in-my-backyard types.
We now have 4,039 signatures opposing this. I would just like to share this with you guys, and personally, I just don't want this near my home and to ruin the home that I grew up in.
Finally, in a decision that came close to midnight,
The motion carries.
Commission members voted to table new rules for data centers and to table the specific rezoning application, both for 6 months. It took nearly 5 hours of debate, but Crusoe Energy finally has the green light for its Warrenton data center. With one catch, the Board of Aldermen refused to end the marathon meeting last night without a legal guarantee of silence for neighbors. Ward 2 Alderman Scott Romemaker forced an amendment to cap the low-frequency hum that often rattles windows near these facilities.
Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to add 70 dB DBC limit at the property line and 60 dBA at the property line 24 hours a day.
The mandate passed. The board also ordered the new data center north of I-70 to dim exterior lights by 70% overnight to save dark skies. A jury's been seated in the federal trial of former St. Louis Alderman Brandon Bosley, expected to begin today. Bosley has pleaded not guilty to charges of wire fraud and making false statements to FBI agents. The case dates back to 2021 and allegations made against Bosley resulting from an inflated car damage insurance claim. A man's been arrested after attempting to burn down a St. Louis homeless encampment.
According to St. Louis City Police, the fire department was initially called to a fire at the homeless encampment on North 10th and Cass Avenue. Police say crews eventually requested their presence when an unhoused individual was throwing a liquid from a gas can all over the place. Police spokesman Mitch McCoy
is being charged related to the threats that he made about burning the lot down and some of the tents in that area.
The encampment is where a makeshift warming shelter was stood up last week, drawing concerns from city officials about how safe it is in the event of a fire. The blaze was located along the fence line of the encampment and had nothing to do with the shelter. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Amtrak had to use buses to get passengers on the Lincoln Service 302 line from St. Louis to Chicago this morning. The company did not say what caused them to avoid using the normal train cars. From the business desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. A final celebration Sunday for Hacienda Mexican Restaurant in Rock Hill, which is closing after 50 years. The celebration will include live music and half-price menu items. Hacienda chips and salsa still be available at local grocery stores. The catering and and food truck business will still operate for at least a few more weeks. The property on Manchester is for sale. Owner Alexandra Rodriguez tells the Business Journal there's been strong interest in it and they are evaluating their options. It's now 8:08, traffic and weather in 2 minutes.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. I've been asked many times how Morgan & Morgan became the largest injury firm in the world. I think I know. When someone comes to us for an on-the-job injury, we have a huge workers' compensation practice. But many times we find a defective product that was responsible for that injury. Luckily for them, we have a product liability section headed by my son, Mike. In addition to the comp case, there is a product case too. Other times, the injured worker is fired or harassed for bringing that claim. We have them covered. Our employment lawyers handle retaliation claims as well as wage theft and discrimination cases, and in some cases need to file for Social Security benefits. No problem. We became big for a reason. 30% of our new cases come as referrals from former clients. Hiring us is easy. Go to forthepeople.com on your mobile device or computer, or call Pound Law on your cell, pound 529. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
This year, I'm giving my hair salon a total makeover.
Total makeover sounds totally expensive.
We updated our logo and colors, so I needed to print new signage, brochures, business cards, everything.
Everything will not be cheap.
Staples did it all, and I saved $100 on my order.
$100? Trim my whiskers, that's a good deal. For everything your business needs to print, let's go Staples.
That was easy.
Offer valid in-store and online. Ends 1/31. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
8:10, time for a check of the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, we're still dealing with our trouble downtown on eastbound Highway 70. This crash at Salisbury. In fact, they have eastbound 70 shut down. The local lanes are shut down. They're diverting you off at Salisbury because of this crash. There's a jam back to West Florissant. So if you're in a hurry coming into downtown, take the express lanes, not the local lanes. Express lanes are wide open. You can get by the crash in a hurry if you go that way. Gawkers on the westbound side are backed up onto eastbound 44 back at Park. So just be advised of that. Sticking with downtown, we have a crash on westbound 5570 just before 64. Traffic's jammed midway between 111 and 203. So some big jam ups in the downtown area right now. Eastbound 70 is also heavy east of the Rock Road into about Air Flight. Eastbound 64 from 70 to 364 is busy. Annie-Guns through Clarkson. A little slowdown through Ballast, and then it's backed up in pockets east of Lindbergh through the Interbelt. South 170 slow at Olive. Westbound 64 Hampton to Hanley's heavy. North 270 55 to Tesson Ferry from an earlier incident, and then approaching 44 all the way up to Ladue. 55, the usual delays from Bayless up through Holly Hills as well. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Breezy today as clouds give way to sunshine, the high 47. Breezy and turning colder tonight. It'll be clear this evening, then some cloud later on, though 21. Sunshine filtered through high clouds tomorrow, the high temperature 39. Friday will be breezy and bitterly cold with clouds and limited sun, the high 12, but AccuWeather real field temperatures below zero. Look for some snow this weekend. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
Pretty skies this morning. It's sunny, 36 in Florissant, 34 in St. Peters, and 35 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. President Trump had set January 20th as a deadline for credit card companies to lower their interest rates to 10% for a year. Now that the date has passed, most banks and card issuers have largely kept their rates unchanged. They've pushed back against an idea that they say lacks key policy details necessary for for them to comply. Nicole Lapin is a financial expert, founder of Private Wealth Collective, and she explains the president's plan.
Basically, he wants to cap credit card interest rates at 10% APR for 1 year. The idea is to dramatically lower borrowing costs for consumers who are carrying these big balances. What's really important for people to remember, though, is that this is a proposal. This is not a rule that is in effect right now. There is no signed law. There is no regulation yet. There's a lot of uncertainty around how something like this would even be enforced. So right now, it's just a policy signal. It's not a change that you're going to see on your statement.
Lapin tells our Odyssey sister station KNX that one study says the plan could save Americans $100 billion annually.
The average credit card APR in the U.S. is over 21%. So that means for a lot of people that are making payments every single month, they're barely seeing their balances move. And for a lot of households that are already stretched by higher food and housing and insurance costs, credit card interest fees feel like a weight that they can't shake. So when you hear 10%, which is, by the way, still very high, it sounds like a relief.
The president posted his proposal on Truth Social January 9th, giving banks just 11 days to comply. The interest rate cap has drawn bipartisan support from some lawmakers, including Senator Elizabeth Warren, a Democrat from Massachusetts, and Missouri Republican Senator Josh Hawley. Financial institutions say they don't have any details on how it would be enforced.
They're worried about access to credit because remember, credit cards are priced based on risk. So the higher your credit score is, the lower your interest rate is, and vice versa. It works like a seesaw. If banks are told that they cannot charge above a certain rate, they're probably going to respond by tightening who qualifies in the first place. So executives at major banks have already warned that a mandatory cap would mean fewer approvals, lower credit limits, and fewer card options, especially for people with lower credit, weaker credit.
Experts say any kind of rate cap would likely require action by Congress. One of the things leading to that credit card spending is social media. LendingTree just completed a study on how much consumers are influenced to buy based on the ads and promotions that come across their social media feeds. And the more time you spend looking at those posts, the more ads come your way. Let's get the latest now from LendingTree Chief Consumer Finance Analyst Matt Schultz.
Good morning.
So a lot of people see these ads come across. How many people told you that they actually buy a product after they see it on social media?
Yeah, about 2/3 of people who say they use social media at least once a week, which is pretty much everybody, right, say that they have purchased a product after seeing it on social media. So that shows that those ads are pretty darn effective.
What kinds of things are people buying in these impulse purchases?
The most common things that people are buying are things like clothes and beauty products and even technology, but it really does kind of run the gamut. But clothing was definitely the most commonly given one. About 1/4 of people who said that they had bought some sort of clothing.
Are there any generations or ages that seem like this is how they buy things more than others?
Yeah, and probably not terribly surprising. Gen Z and millennials are more likely to say that they have bought through social media tools, but by no means are they the only ones who are doing it. This is something that is across generations, across incomes, across genders, on down the line. So it's social media is certainly a powerful tool for retailers.
What do we know when we ask these shoppers about what this does to their budget, or, whether they consider it a problem in their spending?
Well, we do know that more than half of people who have bought something after seeing it on social media say that they've regretted doing so. I think that tells you a lot. And the truth is that impulse buys, which most of these purchases are, I would imagine, or at least a significant amount are, impulse buys are what does a tremendous amount of damage to people's budgets because it's unpredictable and it kind of comes out of nowhere. So that's where these things get really, really dangerous.
Is it causing people to change their habits, though?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have actually seen about 1/3 of people say that they've cut back on how often they use social media in order to save money. And Gen Z is most likely to have said that. So people understand what is happening here. It doesn't mean that they're able to completely avoid it. And it doesn't mean that they still don't feel pressure to buy, but people are certainly changing. At least some people are certainly changing the way they do things as a result.
Now, Matt, I know this isn't something that you necessarily studied, but it's not like we've had ads forever, when it comes to TV,
Right.
newspaper. What do you think makes social media so different?
Part of it's just the addictive nature of it all, but also some of it is just that over the years, retailers and social media companies and tech companies and lenders and banks have just made it so easy to buy that you can literally just click on something and you'll have that purchase. So that ease of buying is really what makes this different from so many other different types of advertising.
What are some steps that we can take to put a pause on this before we buy something that we see come across our feeds?
Really, maybe the simplest thing is don't store your credit card information with retailers or with social media sites, that sort of thing, because just the act of taking the time to put in your credit card information before you buy can end up being a bit of a deterrent. It can be a bit of a buzzkill and make you want to make you think twice about purchasing. Another thing that you can do is kind of an old shopping trip, like the 24-hour rule, where you may see something that you want and maybe instead of clicking to buy it then, maybe you save that post and then say, I'll go back to that in 24 hours and see if that's something that I still want. And if it is, great. If it's not, then maybe you've dodged a bit of a bullet.
Well, Matt, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
That is Matt Schultz, Lending Tree Chief Consumer Finance Analyst, joining us this morning on KMOX. We head back to the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center now. Roger Brand, where are the problem spots?
Well, we still have problems on eastbound 70, Megan, but they do have eastbound 70 reopened at Salisbury, so that's good news. They still have the right lane block there, and eastbound 70, of course, is jammed back around the bend to West Florissant. In fact, it looks like there may be another crash now closer to Adelaide in the midst of all that, but so it is getting better. Eastbound 44 still delays from almost Park Avenue out onto westbound 70 through that Salisbury area. Still have the crash on 5570 just past Exchange. They're trying to clear. Traffic's jammed midway between 111 and 203. So that one, eastbound 70, still some slow stuff between the Rock Road and the airport. South 170 still bogs down from Delmore pretty much all the way to 64. Westbound 64 Hampton out through Big Bend is heavy. Eastbound 64, you've still got delays from 70 to 364, from east of Boone's Crossing to Clarkson, and from Spady all the way through the Interbelt. North 270 still backed up 55 to Tesson Ferry, then it's slow 44 all the way up to Ladue. North 55, Union Road up to River to Pears still congested. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Still ahead this hour on Total Information AM, St. Charles Mayor responds to worry over tourism changes. Could Roundup lawsuits get killed by the nation's highest court? KMOX legal analyst Brad Young will weigh in, and Mississippi leaders offer some advice to Missouri for improving student performance. Checking that forecast for today, it's going to be breezy, clouds giving way to sunshine, but we've got a lot of sunshine already downtown. A high 47 degrees today, breezy and colder tonight with an overnight low of 21. Right now, sunny skies, 35 degrees downtown at the Arch.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
It's Tom Ackerman. What a month we've already had at the Missouri Athletic Club with the Herman Trophy Awards on January 9th. On the 18th, the Baseball Writers Dinner. In between there, the Blues had their Hall of Fame ceremony at the Missouri Athletic Club. And on it goes. This spring, following the college basketball season and the Final Four, the USBWA Awards will be at the MAC. The best basketball players in America, men and women, as well as the best coaches. It is the Missouri Athletic Club's honor to host these great events throughout the year. And of course, it always wraps up in December with the best local awards event, and that would be the Jack Buck Awards. The Missouri Athletic Club holds many event spaces throughout the year. In fact, the summers are filled with weddings and family events. It is the place to be. Downtown, MAC West, and soon to come, the MAC Clayton. MAC-STL.org.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
Start the new year off on a healthier note by taking active liver supplements from New Nordic every day. Available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com or at your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, or Wegmans.
As you've heard here on KMOX in recent weeks, St. Charles Main Street businesses and festival cast members have been waging a vocal campaign over concerns about how the city's tourism operations could be restructured. KMOX's Maria Kina caught up with the St. Charles mayor.
If I was going to run the thing efficiently, this is how I would separate these three departments.
Mayor Dan Borgmeyer explains exactly what he's proposing to improve communication by separating events and promotions.
So right now, everything is in limbo until the council. When the council comes forward and says, yes, we want three departments and we're willing to hire this new director, then everything's kind of moot until that happens.
Now, what happens with the existing people that are there? What will happen with their jobs?
Right now, nothing. There's been no proposed changes. I know there's a whole social media campaign that says the mayor's an ogre. He wants to come in and cancel the festivals and fire all the actors. I mean, why would I shoot myself in the foot by doing something like that? It's a very, very popular Christmas program, Halloween program, and now they've added a Valentine program. So that's all good with me. I have no contention with any of that. But the picture on social media is that he's going to fire everybody and change, and that's why they're getting the turnout, because everybody's scared they're going to lose their job, which has no basis in fact.
So that is not your intention. You want to just bring somebody in. Would it be like they'd oversee it all, the communications person?
No, each director would oversee their own department. And what I recommend, they're all worried about, well, you can't take this away from me and you can't take that away from me. What I suggested is when the three directors are on board, which is probably going to be another 2, 3, 4 months, that they sit down and collaborate between the three of them about efficiencies, budgets, savings, personnel, and everything. I have a director of administration who gets involved in all that. So until this first part happens, the second part can't happen. And when the second part happens, it won't happen, and my recommendation anyway, until there's three separate directors, each responsible for their own department and each collaborating with the other two. Plus, we've got a lot of other departments. We've got public works and we've got IT, a lot of other things. All those directors, we have a meeting once a week to go over things. So it's got to be a well-oiled machine as opposed to three silos where we have power groups and all they worry about is their power. I don't buy into that.
It sounds like you're going to come in and clean house and bring in a whole new slate of people.
And I would have to ask him, where did you get that? I've never said that. But again, the problem with social media is a few people get upset. They start putting misinformation and information out for everybody to take. And naturally, they build as much hype into it as they can to get support for their end of things. But there's no need for support because I haven't proposed anything happen. And everybody kept, well, what are you doing? Why haven't we seen any of it? Well, it's a process I go through, and I've been doing this for 4 months. So when you ask for a report from finance, you don't say, I want to see every entry on every page. You wait until the report's complete and it's made, and then you make your decisions. That's what happened last week.
What's your feeling on how the council is going to go from this, or have you had any feedback from them?
I couldn't tell you. I know 5 of them are up for re-election. I don't know what kind of impact this is going to have on them. I hope none. But I don't ever pull them to say how they're going to vote or see how they're going to vote. I make my presentation as the head of administration, and then they evaluate. Now, They have no responsibility or swag when it comes to administration. Their role and their purview is policy. And once policy is set, that's the end of it. Then the actual implementation of that, like who does what job. If they're not going to get into who does this and who's going to be a secretary and who's going to be a boss. They don't get into any of that. Those are administrative functions and not part of the council's role.
Does it kind of just go into limbo?
That's entirely up to those 10 people. I have no idea what they're going to do, Maria.
Will they tell you when they're going to do something, or it's just kind of a wait and see?
Well, it'll be on the agenda. I guess they're going to meet amongst themselves or separately or individually or whatever and decide what their posture is going to be on the agenda. And they may put it on or they may never put it on. I don't know. That, again, that's outside of my purview.
Is there anything else that I haven't asked that you want people to know when they hear this?
I have a newsletter that goes to like 40,000 people in the city every month. And this month's article is about the frustration of social media. I mean, there's no basis in fact. There's no requirements for any support. You just put on social media what you want. And unfortunately, a lot of people go on social media and believe everything they see, or they see what they want to see. And as soon as they go on social media, you can tell who's who because they start grouping together in clusters. So I'm not part of that. I do what I do. I try to do the best for the voters and then let the chips fall where they may.
Maria Kina, KMOX News.
Thank you, Maria. Still ahead on Total Information AM. President Trump is in Davos. He says he will not use force to acquire Greenland. We'll have an update for you coming up. It's now 8:28, and this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Leave all the 2025 dirt and celebrate the new year with our friends from Zero Res. Carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, hard surfaces, basically every surface in your home can be Zero Resified, so it's time to call the cleaning pros at Zero Res. Zero Res has a 4.9 rating on Google, bringing in the new year with 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $119 plus a free hallway. Take 15% off regularly priced services when you mention the KMOX special 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
I was ordering food for the office from the same few places for too long.
For workplaces suffering with office food fatigue, every day's a struggle.
Before starting Easy Cater, I assumed having no good vegan options for Carl in finance was normal.
Easy Cater is designed to treat OFF with a huge variety of favorite restaurants, plus tools to help you meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Used daily, one platform lets you save time and shine. Ask your app store about Easy Cater or start an order at easycater.com.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
8:30. Let's see if things are getting better on eastbound 70 this morning and some other places. Roger Brand has more from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, it's getting better on eastbound 70, Megan, but there's still a backup. I mean, the right lane is still blocked, but at least they're not diverting traffic off at Salisbury. So we still have a jam back at O'Fallon Park and Gawkers on eastbound 44 from the Poplar out onto westbound 70 through that Salisbury area is still slow. And they're still working the crash on the Illinois side, 5570 at Exchange. The left lane closed. There's still a jam midway between 111 and 203, so still pretty tough downtown. If you're on northbound 270, you still have that backup. This most recent incident is just south of Tesson Ferry. The earlier one was north of it, the crash. So it's backed up onto 55. The right lane's through the Mattis Road overpass. And then once you get past Tesson Ferry, north 270 is still slow north of 44 all the way to Ladue. Eastbound 64, Lindbergh all the way into Bellevue is pretty heavy. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley. South 170 delays at Ladue. South 270 is thinned out. Eastbound 64 is still a little heavy coming through Prospect out in the Westplex. And northbound 55, a Bayless up the river to Pear is still backed up. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
But my lips are turning blue. Are they fast?
My darling, Jerry Kelly can install a new furnace tomorrow, no matter what day tomorrow is, even if we call late at night.
You are my hero.
They're fast and they're good and they got it going on. JerryKelly.com.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, we'll have sunshine today, a high of 47 degrees, breezy and colder tonight, an overnight low of 21. And then tomorrow, sunny with some high clouds, a high of 39 for Friday, breezy, much colder, a high only near 12 degrees. Right now, sunny skies, 35 degrees downtown at the Arch. The latest now from the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. President Donald Trump insists he won't use force to acquire Greenland, where he criticized Europe and emphasized the U.S. should have control over Greenland. Trump's comments come amid tensions with allies over potential tariffs on Denmark and other European countries. His arrival in Davos was delayed by an electrical issue on Air Force One. He did tell the assembly he plans to discuss housing affordability and the Board of Peace to oversee a ceasefire in Israel's conflict with Hamas. European leaders, including French President Emmanuel Macron, have expressed concerns over Trump's policies and their impact on global stability. Make sure you stay with KMOX for the latest on this story.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Extreme cold weather coming in through St. Louis this mid-January probably. If you're having issues with your furnace, give me a call. If you are told you need a new furnace, without a question, give me a call. You'll be happy you did. We're all the same when it comes to like buying a furnace and air conditioner, just like with pretty much anything else. If you're like me, I want a furnace that heats, and in the heat of summer, I want an air conditioner that works. Pretty much simple. So is a more high-efficient air conditioner or more high-efficient furnace give me more heat, more or more cooling? No, it doesn't at all. It gives you the exact same. So with that being said, you need to call me. Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Again, 314-293-2600, or you can do the online thing, and it's Bart Inman, Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Your Money Report now, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
As artificial intelligence threatens to upend the job market, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang is making the case that skilled vocational workers are seeing increasing demand for their services. He says plumbers, electricians, and construction workers are going to be able to command six-figure salaries thanks to demand to build data centers that run artificial intelligence. He adds the technology will require one of the biggest infrastructure build-outs in history, with trillions of dollars in new investment. Checking on your money, President Trump's push to take over Greenland sent stocks plunging yesterday. The Dow dropped 871 points. This morning, the markets are recovering, with S&P futures little changed. And United Airlines is seeing a strong year ahead, driven by demand from high-spending flyers and international travelers. Like other carriers, United is investing heavily to cash in on passengers willing to pay more for a better flying experience. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
New tax resolution firms are popping up every day with high-paid celebrity endorsers, advertising ridiculous claims in their TV ads. That's why they have the tiny, unreadable disclaimers at the bottom of the screen. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. Our ads never have those ridiculous, fast-talking, tiny disclaimers at the end because, simply put, there are no guarantees when it comes to the IRS and wiping out tax bills. And we don't make promises we can't keep. Of course, there are ways the Lance Drury Law Firm can help resolve your tax debt, but no company can guarantee it will eliminate it. This is why their clients call the Lance Drury Law Firm when those promises don't pan out. If you have tax problems, you have legal problems, call me, Lance Drury in St. Louis at 314-260-6120 or visit Lance, D-R-U-R-Y, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
At Graybar, we know your time is money. That's why our services go beyond parts and products. With kitting, pre-assembly, wire carts, and Graybar smart reels that keep you moving. We stage materials and manage logistics so you can spend less time sorting and more time installing. And with locations nationwide, we deliver when and where you need it, working to make your job easier every step of the way. Yep, Graybar does that.
This is Corey from Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. There's never a good time for your heating system to stop working. If yours does, no matter what time or day, Air Comfort Service offers 24/7 emergency HVAC service. Contact our award-winning team for 5-star heating service and stay in your comfort zone. For heating and 24/7 emergency service, contact Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation at aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
St. Louis has a voice.
KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
That voice has shared our stories from headline to history.
This is Harry Carey from the beautiful new Busch Memorial Stadium.
From moment to memory.
The chase is on.
Among those voices, Bruce Bradley.
I felt better when Jimmy Carter was president, knowing that Rosalind Carter was around saying, now, Jimmy.
Working at KMOX is an honor and a responsibility to represent this community. It's one we take seriously. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Show, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
This is 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. Former St. Louis Alderman Brandon Bosley on trial today on charges of wire fraud and making false statements to FBI. Warrenton aldermen have approved a new data center north of I-70. And Wells Fargo says St. Louis will stay a key hub even as it moves its wealth management headquarters to Florida. Check of the roads now with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We're getting better downtown, Megan, at least on the Illinois side. This traffic reports a service of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. They cleared that crash, 5570 westbound at Exchange. Still a jam midway from 111 to 203, but it's opening up just as you pass 203. Eastbound 70 downtown, still is a little jam from out West Flores and around the bend through Adelaide, and westbound 70 is really 44 from the Arch Grounds on to westbound 70 at Salisbury. Still busy past the original crash we had there. If you're on eastbound 64, Lindbergh into Big Bend, still slow. South 170 bogs down at Delmar. Westbound 64 Hampton to Hanley, that's still heavy. North 270 still this new crash, the latest one near Tesson Ferry. It's just south of Tesson Ferry. Traffic's backed up coming off the 55 ramps. Then it's still slow Doherty Ferry to Ladue northbound. Eastbound 44, roadwork delays from Southwest Avenue into Kings Highway, and northbound 55 from Bayless up the river to Pear is still kind of slow. Need a garage door? Entries are open now for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorstlouis.com. Deadline to enter is the end of the month. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorstlouis.com. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be breezy today, but we'll see sunshine, a high of 47 degrees. Breezy and colder tonight with an overnight low of 29, and then sunny with a few high clouds, 39 tomorrow. We have 35 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch, and you're listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX. A Hawaii law that restricts the carrying of handguns on private property went before the nation's highest court this week. Plus, justices have agreed to take up a Missouri case over the weed killer Roundup. Let's talk about it with KMOX legal analyst Brad Young. He is partner at Harris, Young, and Kaiser. Good morning, Brad.
Good morning, Megan.
Let's start with Hawaii and their handgun law. What specifically is being challenged about this law before the Supreme Court?
Well, under Hawaii law, and there's several other states that have similar laws, if a person even is licensed by the state to have a concealed weapon, they are not allowed to take that weapon, that pistol that's concealed, onto private property without the property owner's permission. So these laws set up a conflict between the Second Amendment and private property laws, saying, I own this property and I have the right to control it. So the court examined whether one can prevail over the other, and how these laws, whether they conflict with the Second Amendment, which the court has held since 2011, that individuals have a constitutional right to carry weapons.
Brad, I think we've all seen signs on businesses, for example, that say, no weapons allowed. Is that mostly what we're talking about here, that this is a concern of businesses?
It is a concern of businesses, and even those companies that are even private individuals in Hawaii. And one of the questions that really kind of solidified this argument was voiced by Justice Roberts, when he said, if a person is going to be coming onto a gas station to gas up their car, does that mean they have to park in the street and leave their weapon in the car and come in to ask the permission of the property owner? Probably the clerk who's running the gas station isn't the owner, and it sets up this issue where it becomes onerous to obtain the permission of the property owner in order to gas up the car. So most of the justices voiced some disappointment, or some disagreement rather, with this Hawaii law. And I do see this as probably a 6-3 decision in favor of striking the Hawaii law.
How could this impact other states then?
It could impact many states. Even, for example, you mentioned where business owners have those signs in the windows. We'll have to see how that applies to those types of businesses, but it could absolutely impact directly states like California and a few other Democrat-led states where they've passed this legislation in the past, limiting the exercise of the Second Amendment.
Let's move to the other case the Supreme Court said it's going to pick up. It's now agreed to hear an appeal from Bayer to block thousands of state lawsuits alleging that it failed to warn people that Roundup weed killer could cause cancer. What legal arguments is the Supreme Court going to consider as it looks at this request?
Well, obviously, this has a very large impact in the St. Louis region, because Bayer, formerly Monsanto, is based right here. And the case before the Supreme Court, Megan, deals with a Missouri case where there was a multi-million-dollar, or slightly more than $1 million verdict. And the basis of the dispute is essentially this. Under federal law, it's called the Federal Insecticide Act. Under that law, the federal government is in charge of labeling. But most of these lawsuits that have been filed have been based on state labeling requirements. For example, trying to state that using Roundup can cause non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and federal law doesn't require that labeling. So the issue becomes, can states' requirements to label products, can that override federal law, which federal law has already what's called preempted the area when it comes to labeling of insecticides. So again, I see this as a situation where the court will, in all likelihood, strike many of these verdicts because they were based on state labeling requirements that were in excess of what was required by federal law.
So you kind of answered my next question, but could you explain that a little bit more about what it could mean for previous successful lawsuits?
Right. So let's use this one case. And there's been many of these successful lawsuits against Bayer based upon the insecticide Roundup. And so if these multi-million-dollar verdicts were in part based upon state laws stating that they failed to warn that the use of Roundup could cause non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, at that point, all of those verdicts would be nullified. It would have to go back down to trial courts and have probably another trial where at evidence at the trial, the plaintiffs could not present evidence that the product manufacturer failed to comply with state labeling laws. And I know it's kind of complicated, but it really all comes down to what kind of information does the jury get to have when they're reaching these verdicts? And this case at the Supreme Court will decide that issue.
One last case that I want to talk about quickly. Well, it's not actually a case yet, but the U.S. Department of Justice says it's investigating a group of protesters in Minnesota who disrupted services at a church where apparently a local official with Immigration and Customs Enforcement apparently serves as a pastor. I think the big question for a lot of people watching this story is, could this in fact be a federal civil rights violation?
It very well could, Megan, because there's a federal law. It's called the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act. And part of that law deals with protecting abortion providers from having their facilities shut down by protesters. But within that law, it also contains protections for houses of worship from being shut down by protesters. So if folks have seen those videos on social media, this church service was literally shut down by the protesters. So the question becomes, under federal law, did they violate the FACE Act, the Freedom of Access Act, and also under Minnesota law, whether they violated state law regarding disorderly conduct and trespass, and even interference with religious observance. I do anticipate there being further legal action on both the state and the federal level.
Brad, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
That is KMOX legal analyst Brad Young, partner at Harris, Young & Kaiser, joining us this morning here on KMOX. Coming up next, we're going to look at Missouri's assessment program. That's how they measure how schools are doing with student achievement. And there's going to be a forum today looking at how Missouri can do better. Stay with us.
KMOX, celebrating 100 years. Presented by Purina, your pet, our passion. Now, a KMOX pioneer.
Few voices in KMOX history created more joy and laughter than Jack Carney. With his sharp wit, creative segments, and effortless storytelling, Carney turned the Jack Carney Show into one of the most beloved programs in St. Louis radio. His daily puns, long-form jokes, and playful exchanges kept listeners in their cars, sometimes long after they'd reached their destination.
This is the Saturday Morning Comedy Show, and I'm Jack Carney. Oh, I feel so good. You ever do that in the morning? Very rarely. Might be the mattress.
My bed has no mattress.
Well, then no wonder you've got that funny waffle look on your tuchus there. You've been sleeping right on the spring.
Carney's warmth and spontaneity redefined morning radio, proving that great broadcasting could be smart, unpredictable, and irresistibly fun. Jack Carney, a KMOX pioneer.
Start your engine, St. Louis. The St. Louis Auto Show is back, and it's bigger, faster, and more exciting than ever. See the latest cars, trucks, SUVs, and electric vehicles, all at the America Center, January 22nd through 25th. From cutting-edge technology to luxury rides and family favorites, this is the ultimate auto experience. Whether you consider yourself a car enthusiast or not, this event has something for everyone. More information at KMOX.com/events.
You're back with Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. State education officials say the most recent assessments of Missouri public school performance show that students in more than 90% of schools meet or exceed state standards. Sounds pretty good, but could the state do better? An education town hall today hosted by the Opportunity Trust will look at the gap between the state's report and some data that shows that many students do still lack proficiency in core subjects. Rachel Cantor is Director of Education Policy for the Progressive Policy Institute and founding executive director of Mississippi First. She's going to talk today about what lessons her state learned. Rachel, welcome to KMOX this morning.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Was Mississippi facing a similar situation that we're seeing in Missouri?
Yes. When I started Mississippi First in 2008, there was definitely a gap between what our state assessment results showed about how much students had learned at the end of every grade level, as well as how much students knew based on what we call the National Assessment for Educational Progress, also called the Nation's Report Card, which is sort of our national standard that's comparable state to state on how much students know and can be able to do by the end of every grade level. And when you have a gap that's significant, it essentially says your state assessment is not rigorous enough and your students are actually not learning enough.
When you do look at Missouri's data right now, what stands out to you?
Yeah. So there is a big gap between what the state assessment in Missouri says students know and how Missouri students perform on the nation's report card assessments in reading and math at 4th and 8th grade levels. What we see on the national report card is that Missouri students actually have been declining for some time in their performance. It's a pretty steep decline. And that decline actually begins pre-pandemic in both reading and math. The state of Missouri sort of leveled off in the mid-2010s and then began to fall drastically after the 2017 testing cycle in reading and after the 2019 testing cycle in math. A lot of people will say some of that decline is the pandemic, and that's certainly true. But the fact that Missouri has not recovered post-pandemic, even though other states have, and the fact that the declines are so steep indicate there's a real problem with student learning in the state of Missouri.
I don't know if you have been able to drill down into the data, but do we know if that's across the board, across districts? Is there a difference in urban and rural? Is there anything that stands out when you look deeper?
So I haven't examined the Missouri data, the state level data as closely. When you look at general trends, often you do see a gap between high-income students and low-income students. You may see a gap between urban areas and suburban areas in particular. One thing that is true in the state of Missouri, as well as true nationally, is that students who are at the lower levels of achievement going into the assessment, so students who are in the 10th percentile, students who are in the 25th percentile of achievement, their decline in learning has been even steeper post-pandemic than before. And I think what this generally shows is that while some students in Missouri may be doing okay, overall, the state of Missouri is not doing well at all. And for the state assessment to be saying that you have such a high percentage of students meeting state benchmarks, it says there's a real problem with how you're measuring what students know. There's not enough rigor in the assessment. And before you can really turn around student academic achievement, you have to be honest with yourself and your parents and your families about what students actually know and can do.
So, Rachel, I know you have been through a process in Mississippi to try to turn this around. Give us a sense of what changes have been implemented and what results you've seen.
Yeah, so Mississippi embarked on a 20-year journey to try to improve educational achievement. And for a long time, people were sort of nationally were unaware that we were doing this. Over the last couple of years, a lot of people have been talking about our science of reading work, which essentially we changed the way that we taught reading to follow the evidence about what works and how to teach reading. And that was a key part of what we did. But we also did a host of other things to enable our education system to improve. One of those things that we did is that we dramatically increased the rigor of our learning standards. So we expected students to learn more. We dramatically increased the rigor of our state assessment, what it meant to be proficient on those assessments. We made sure that we were screening kids for readiness when they came into kindergarten and then targeting instructional supports to them if they came in not ready. We made sure we moved to high quality instructional materials and that teachers had training and support and coaching to be able to make those instructional shifts. We essentially aligned our state system so that we were asking more of teachers and schools, but we were providing them with a tremendous amount of support to make that additional work feel possible. And then we had a very clear A through F accountability rating system for schools and districts that really showed how schools and districts were doing, so we knew how to target supports better. And that A through F rating system, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That A through F rating system was really based on student proficiency and growth. Because student growth is really important. You have to grow students year to year in order to make sure that they're going to end up at the end of the year and at the end of their school experience with meaningful skills.
We have about 30 seconds left. Results for Mississippi out of this?
Yeah, so Mississippi went from the bottom of the country to the national average in 2019. We've recovered from the pandemic and math and reading at 4th and 8th grade levels. And if you adjust for our demographics, we have the number one students in the country. And that is a mind-blowing statistic for many people nationally who haven't been paying attention to the work that we're doing. But it's really about a back to the basics approach. You've got to have the right instruction, the right supports, the right accountability.
Rachel, thank you so much. Hope you enjoy your time in St. Louis this week.
Thank you so much.
That is Rachel Cantor, Director of Education Policy for the Progressive Policy Institute, founding Executive Director of Mississippi First. She will be speaking at an education town hall today, hosted by the Opportunity Trust. It is on the Washington University campus. It's now 8:57.
Cold weather is here. Is snow in our future? We're going to check in with AccuWeather on that. We'll talk finances with Dave Simons. And Indiana has won the college football national championship. Dennis Dodd joins the show. All that and more coming up on the Chris and Amy Show right after the news on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Money, sponsored by University of Maryland Global Campus.